They may be small in stature, but they come up with huge plays. Yesterday, leading the Cardinals to their 9th straight win. How about the top of the order? Vina, Robinson, and Polanco. Big-time players in big-time games. Next on WB11.
The left arm, the left hand of Bud Smith, and the Cardinals look to their rookie left-hander for another very good outing tonight. It's Bud Smith for the Redbirds, looking for 10 in a row, and it's been 60 years since a Cardinal club has had 2 10-game winning streaks in the same season. Are the Phillies the victims again tonight? We'll find out shortly. Bob Carpenter, Al Raboski, Rich Gould joins us in a moment. And Al, maybe a couple of weeks ago, the Cardinals don't win the kind of ball game they won here last night.
Yeah, I think that's very true, and I think it's one of those case in points where the ball club played well enough to take a 3-1 lead. But then there were a couple bad mistakes on the base paths, a couple other things where they denied themselves an opportunity to blow the game open, and yet they still win. So you feel like, hey, even when they don't play well enough, they win these ball games. You're feeling good about themselves, where if they would have lost that game, they probably would have lost this series. But now this club feeling high, and rightfully so.
Astros won today. Cubs face Randy Johnson tonight. Bud Smith is the guy the Redbirds look to tonight. He's been very good. And Al, this club has been playing some championship baseball.
Well, it really has, and now they're starting to beat another first-place club. So you're starting to feel like every time they send a starter out there on the mound, they have a chance to win. That's how we've been doing on this 9-game winning streak. The best pitching staff in the major leagues since the All-Star break.
Yeah, with an ERA of 3.04. AutoZone division standings. Astros beat the Pirates 3-0 today behind a rookie left-hander, Carlos Hernandez. As mentioned, the Cubs face Randy Johnson tonight.
Well, they face Randy Johnson, and we just have to worry about facing a young guy making his 3rd major league start, Duckworth, and this guy is 2-0. So you win your ball game, you let the Arizona take care of the Cubs.
Brandon Duckworth for the Phillies. Mark McGwire, again, not in the Cardinal lineup tonight, but you sure can't argue with the little guys who've been setting the table.
Welcome back. Stormy night in St. Louis tonight. The Cardinals on some kind of roll. And one of the reasons why, sitting to my right, Fernando Vina, isn't it fun to set the table for this ball club?
Definitely. It's fun, you know, to get on base and do the things I can do to help this club win. It's been exciting.
And when you get on a streak like this, you get the feeling that you're somewhat invincible, don't you? That everything's going to go your way.
You hope that. You know, you think good things are happening, things are clicking, the guys are all fired up, and we're playing hard. So hopefully we can, you know, make the bounces go our way.
Last night, I wanted Polanco at the plate, didn't you?
Oh, yeah, definitely, definitely. I was up right before him. I would have liked to do it before, but walked me and got to him, and Polanco's a great hitter, so it worked out well.
Talking a lot about offense, but also when you get in a streak like this, you've got to make plays. That was some catch.
Yeah, that was nice. That was a good play. I was very excited, and you know, I take a lot of pride in my defense, and I work hard at it, and thank God I made that good play.
Have you had many better than that one?
There's been a few. The one in Chicago earlier this year was pretty good, and the one in New York wasn't bad, and the other one here to end the game wasn't too bad. So I've had some good, you know, I make some good plays, but you just got try to keep grinding them out and play well.
Go get them tonight, Fernando.
Thank you.
Fernando Vina, our pregame guest. We're coming up. Cardinals and Phillies. Hopefully it's going to be a great night tonight at Busch Stadium as the streak continues.
Gorgeous day in St. Louis. Some weather in the area, but it appears most of it is off to the east of us. And we're thinking about those folks out in Mount Vernon, Illinois. We hope you folks are safe this evening, dealing with some severe weather out there. The Phillies lineup brought to you by Southwest Airlines. There's the Philly defense we'll see in the bottom half of the first inning. They are the best defensive team in the National League, by the way, with only 66 errors. The Seattle Mariners have made only 60. So the Philadelphia Phillies, one of the top 2 defensive teams in baseball. Bud Smith for the Cardinals tonight. He's 3-1. He started 7 games, 9 appearances overall, Al. And his record could be a lot better so far than 3-1.
Well, he's very good. 21-year-old. He did not earn a decision. And Monday, when he, against Cincinnati, allowed just 2 runs on 8 hits and 7 innings of work. But the Cardinals rallied from a 2-0 deficit to get 3 in the 8th and make that win. He's worked 6 or more innings in 6 of his 7 starts and has allowed 2 or fewer runs in 5 of his 7 starts.
Phillies are hitting .268, 5th best in the National League. Southwest Airlines has it for us with Jimmy Rollins up top at short. Doug Glanville in the number 2 hole tonight, and Scott Rowland at 3rd. Then you go down to Bobby Abreu and Pat Burrell, who's having a big month of August with 6 homers and 17 RBIs. Felipe Crespo, the former Giant, Todd Pratt, Tomas Perez, and their young pitcher Brandon Duckworth.
Congratulations to Tony La Russa last night. Won career win number 1,800. He's 11th best and the most wins in the major leagues of active managers.
Yeah, that's 11th all time, Al, right?
Right.
Not just active. Quite a milestone for our skipper. The defense brought to you by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers. Cardinals are in the middle of the league defensively. Ray Robinson, Edmonds, and Paquette, just like last night, pretty much the same lineup with the exception of the catcher, as Eli Marrero works behind home plate tonight. The umpire back there is Mark Wegner. Davey Phillips, the crew chiefs at 3rd, Rick Reed at 2nd, Lance Barksdale at first base. Jimmy Rollins, the switch hitter, digs in. Bud Smith is ready. It's 7-10 in St. Louis, and it's ball 1 outside.
Well, Rollins had a 4-hit night last night. It equaled his career high. He was the first player in the National League to go doubles and to go double figures in doubles, triples, home runs, and stolen bases. And Bud Smith does not want Rollins to get on base. Matter of fact, he doesn't want the best running team in the National League to reach base at all.
Their top 4 guys can all run, even Scott Rowland. There's a strike. Jimmy has 39 steals, Glanville 22, Rowland 13, Bobby Abreu, their cleanup man, 31. Bobby Abreu will be a 30-30 guy this year. There's a bouncer to 3rd. Polanco, tough little hop. Is playing even with the bag, and there's the first out of the game.
You're talking about Bobby Abreu being a 30-30 man. They've never had one in their history. Of course, Mike Schmidt one time could have. He had 29 steals to go with about 38 home runs, but it was not a big deal back then, the 30-30.
And we'll talk about this a little bit later, but the Cardinals have a chance to equal a little club history tonight. As I mentioned briefly earlier, and this is Doug Glanville stepping in at 266. Back in 1941, the Cardinals had 2 10-game winning streaks. Late April to early May. Then they had an 11-game streak later in May. A drive to center. Edmonds not able to get there. That ball hit right off the end of the bat. And a base hit with 1 out for Doug Glanville. And of course, a lot of Cardinal historians remember the year 1941. More on that in a moment. There it is. And how about that? The first streak ended in the same month that the second streak started. But later in that season, in September of 1941, the Cardinals would call up a young man by the name of Musial. And he would hit over 400 in the month of September, and he would be in the Cardinal lineup for the next 22 years. Interrupted by a little war service. And a foul back on a good cut by Scott Rowland.
You know, hard to believe is they did not win that year. For those 2 winning streaks.
This looks like Wrigley Field, Al. Look at that wind blowing to the southeast.
Well, you mentioned the bad weather in the area. Hopefully it'll stay away until after midnight, but it's all around the Midwest.
Straight over the center field fence and the roof out there. Looks like about a 50,000-foot high thunderhead sitting out there, out over the land of Lincoln. And again, we hope you folks over in the eastern part, there's that big old cloud out there that's way upstairs. We hope you folks out in the Mount Vernon area have been safe and sound for the last couple of hours with some tornado activity out there. Inside target on 0-2, and he jams Rowland. Another foul out of play. Good crowd gathering. All the sections are occupied in the ballpark tonight. So we're going to have a crowd of probably over 45,000 sitting in on this one. On Albert Pujols collector coin night here at the ballpark. Albert's at first, holding Doug Glanville. 0-2 to Roland. Ground ball at somebody would be nice. Bud Smith working with Marrero. Outside target. That was close, and he just missed outside. And Al, you throw that pitch a couple of times, that's a call you may start getting later in the game.
Yeah, part of that is you establish in the umpire's mind that you can hit that spot consistently, and then it works in his mindset that that is a strike.
Inside target now. Ooh, and Roland had a big time hack at that.
And Roland had a 9-game hitting streak snap last night. See the last 8 games how well he has hit. He was the player of the week a week ago. But you know, he has struggled against St. Louis this year, 2 for 16, and here at Busch Stadium, a 194 hitter in his career.
1 ball and 2 strikes. 1 on 1 out. Albert never did lay the glove on the hip of Glanville, who was doing a little do-si-do around that bag, trying to stay on there. Tony Scott coaching over there for the Phillies. And the 1-2 delivery. That one well outside, evens the count 2-2. Astros won their game today 3-0. Their scheduled starter in that game today at Houston was Shane Reynolds. But they got an emergency start and 7 scoreless innings from their just called up rookie left-hander Carlos Hernandez, who they called up from Double-A on Wednesday. Changeup outside, ball 3, and Larry Boa loves to run. We'll see what he does here with a full count.
Now, Bud Smith has to try to avoid these running counts, as they've got good speed, like you said. Glanville, 22 stolen bases, 25 attempts. Overall, their team has a exceptional success ratio.
Runner goes. Swing and a miss. Throw to second, short, and into center field. It'll be a steal for Glanville, his 23rd. It'll be Eli Marrero's 7th error of the year. The Cardinals do get an out, and the runner's at third with 2 down.
Now, Eli, just because he has not caught that much, has been very poor in throwing. Short hops Vina, it bounces over. But all of his errors are come on throws just like this, and it's just and we know he's got one of the best throwing arms, and just his mechanics are off a little bit from not being behind the plate on a regular basis. And once again, the sort of the pet peeve of catchers was that ball that goes right into center field, and the center fielder does not react until the ball hits the outfield grass.
Runner at third, 2 outs. Ground ball, base hit, and the Phillies lead. So the error is costly, but I have to say, even had he not gone to third on the error, that's a ball that he scores on from second base with the great speed of Glanville. So the scorer should consider that an earned run eventually.
Yeah, here Bobby Abreu, who really struggled about the first month and a half, but flirting with 300 now and being the productive hitter that you know he would be. That was his 88th RBI, and gets about a 296 average now. This guy's a good all-around player, Bobby Abreu. He can play a little defense for you too.
Yeah, Houston used to have him. He came to the major leagues with the Astros.
Remember, they left him open in the expansion draft, and Tampa Bay drafted him.
Bud Smith throws one low to Pat Burrell.
And then they traded Stocker, the shortstop, for Bobby Abreu. That's a, kind of look back and wonder about that deal, but of course Astros have an abundance of outfielders.
And they right now have young Julio Lugo as their regular shortstop next to Biggio up the middle. So the Astros winning today are actually in first place alone by a half game over the Cubs. The Cardinals are thus 3 games out, 2.5 back of Chicago. And the Phillies an early lead here. For 1-0 instead over to first, and Bobby Abreu a running threat, tied for second in the league with Juan Pierre and Luis Castillo with his 31 steals.
This Philadelphia club is hungry because they fall a half game behind Atlanta, who defeated the Giants today.
And we heard Barry Bonds went deep again, huh? That
Yep.
would be his 54th.
Correct.
Line drive on an off-speed pitch foul. And the count 1 ball, 1 strike. So those are the 2 finals from the National League today. Milwaukee is scoreless after 4 at Cincinnati. Marlins did not score in the first at Colorado. And the sun is shining so brightly on the American League scoreboard up there, we'll have a hard time reading that thing for a while. Bunch of finals in the American League, and there's a strike. We can tell you Seattle scored a bunch of runs early and beat the Yankees 7-6. Cleveland won again 4-2 over Anaheim. Wayne Krivsky from the Minnesota Twins, Terry Ryan's assistant, is in the ballpark tonight doing some scouting. And he says our ball club cannot buy a win. The Twins came into this day losers of 8 in a row, and they just gave up a run in the top of the first at home to Tampa Bay.
Boston won over Baltimore 5-1. Texas beat Toronto 12-5.
Oakland won again, huh?
Yep.
Well, they are really playing well.
5-4 over the A's. And Kansas City doubled up Detroit 8-4.
2 balls and 2 strikes. And a runner at first, 2 down, top of the first. Phillies have broken on top here. Bud Smith preoccupied with Bobby Abreu. And for those of you who were at the ballpark last night, you did not get the opportunity to see our time code on that unusual play when Miguel Cairo was called out at third last night. We'll show you that again, how we coded those things together and showed you that a mistake was made by umpire Rick Reed, depriving the Cardinals of a run. Just so you don't think our new guy Miguel Cairo messed up on the bases last night. It was close and the umpire rung him up, but our replay showed he was on the base when the catch was made. Right now a 3rd out in the top of the first, the #1 priority, and Bud Smith with some soft hands takes a shot away from Pat Burrell. A run on 2 hits and an error. Phillies break out on top, and the little guys coming up for the Cards. Tony La Russa's Cardinals down by a run, but they haven't even batted yet. Tony's got pretty much the same lineup as last night. Southwest Airlines brings it to you. And the table setters, Vigna, Polanco, and Robinson. Fernando batting almost 400 his last 10 games. Pujols cleans up with Edmonds and Paquette to follow. Edgar Renteria with a 10-game hitting streak. Eli Marrero and Bud Smith. Brandon Duckworth, a young man from Utah. Not an overpowering pitcher, and he's the second half of our Chrysler Jeep pitching matchup.
Well, they say he's fearless. He's made 2 starts, and he's won both of them. Last time out was against the Dodgers. We allowed 1 run in 7 innings.
Philly defense, as we mentioned earlier, one of the best in baseball, best in this league, with only 66 errors, according to our friends at Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers. Jimmy Rollins, the rookie shortstops, made only 10 errors this year. And they've got some good speed in the outfield with Glanville and Abreu. Fernando digs in. He had a nice evening last night with 2 hits, a sacrifice, an intentional walk, and a great play out in center field. You look at the night Fernando had last night. Those are the things championships are made of. First pitch from the rookie right-hander is a breaking ball. They say his curve is by far his best pitch.
Yeah, he's been noted. This guy has really very good statistics the last couple of years. He was their rookie, or their minor league pitcher of the year in 2000. This year he's on pace to set all kinds of records at AAA. Has fastball, has a little late movement, you know, it makes it kind of an explosive movement.
Cardinal fans want to rally right now. Here's the 1-1, ground ball up the middle and stabbed by the pitcher. Nice play by him, and that's how the Cardinals get going. Here's Polanco. He didn't have the biggest offensive night last night, but he did have the game-winning sac fly. He should have had another. And Al, here's our time code. So at 9:22:46 p.m. last night, this is what happened with Polanco batting and Cairo on third.
Let's see. Watch both of them as they're in sync. As Polanco lifts the ball to right field, Bobby Abreu has a good arm. Cairo is standing at the bag when the play is made. See, the ball's in his glove. He's still on the bag.
The umpire called him out.
Ruled that he had left the bag too soon, and we proved that he was on the bag. Actually, we were kidding him today that he got a bad break. He had a late jump.
That is beyond a shadow of a doubt right there. And there's another strike to Polanco on a fastball. So Placido Polanco, the RBI that won it last night, he's driven in 29 this year. His batting average .320.
29 and a half.
He's in the hole 0-2. And it's outside from Brandon Duckworth, 6'2", 185, born in Salt Lake City. He lives in Kearns, Utah. There's Miguel Cairo, who joined the Cardinals last Saturday at Shea Stadium after the Redbirds got him off the waiver wire from the Cubs.
Remember, he doubled and then got to third. That was his first Cardinal hit. You know, Duckworth, kind of the interesting thing, he was drafted twice and did not sign, but when the Phillies drafted him, or they signed him as a non-drafted free agent, and he has been very good for them.
There's a broken bat base hit. How about Polanco? He's in the hole 0-2. He takes a pitch outside, lays off a breaking ball that a lot of guys would have struck out on. Then he gets the bat on the ball and singles to left field. That was really something.
He's such a good batter. You know, we talk about so many times going the opposite field, but that ball was so far in on him. That was one of the times he turns on it and throws the ball to left. Broke his bat, but still, I still kind of laugh when people say that, you know, he's not strong enough to play every day. Well, folks, he's playing every day.
And he's plenty strong.
And you know what? Next year, you look for him to play in the outfield because they want to move Pujols to third on a permanent basis.
And a strike to Kerry Robinson. Kerry last night with a 3-hit evening, a good play of his own, a stolen base, 2 runs. And these little guys, these jackrabbits at the top of the Cardinal lineup, have been really playing well. The 0-1 delivery. Broken bat. Pitcher's got it. High throw, and Robinson beats it out. You've got to turn a perfect double play to double up Kerry Robinson. Looked like Duckworth was a little bit off balance when he finally got control of that thing.
Yeah, he tried to rush it. Watch it right here. Throws the pitch, and then nice job to backhand it, but then he's sideways a little bit. No crow hop, so he's off balance, and the throw was a little bit high. Rollins didn't have much on the throw. Another broken bat, and way Kerry Robinson flies down the line. Like you said, it's got to take a perfect execution to the shortstop or second baseman covering, and then a perfect throw to the first.
Brandon Duckworth's already broken 2 Cardinal bats. Kerry was leaning. He has stolen 8 this year in 10 attempts, had 1 last night. And Pujols, 8th in the league at .330. Enjoying a .393 month of August. There's a breaking ball on the corner, at least close to it, and Mark Wegner gave him the call, and the count's 0-1.
Bob, the last times, or the times I can remember we've had this umpire behind the plate, I thought he's had a very good strike zone.
And Pujols gets jammed, hits it off his foot. And Albert will have to walk that one off. Mark Wegner, one of the good young umpires in this league.
From St. Paul, Minnesota, now resides in White Bear Lake, Minnesota.
Now, did you stop by the umpire's room to get your new copies of the umpire's media guide?
Absolutely.
And you presented me with a copy as well. I thank you.
Kurt Slogel, their attendant, and one of Buddy Bates' first lieutenants, extraordinaire. He heard us last night, so he even wrote my name on my umpire's media guide.
Isn't that special?
So if I lost it, somebody could return it to me.
Low and inside. Kurt does a great job down there with the umps. Had a chance to visit with Davey Phillips, our St. Louis buddy, tonight. He says his back is feeling fine. He's ready to get back to work on a full-time basis.
I'm disappointed. He only got 200 calls about us ripping him last night.
1 ball and 2 strikes. In a friendly way, it was. And he says he's been raising up both hands on that strike call for a number of years. I guess we just haven't seen Davey enough.
Well, he got one back at me. He said, Al, you never threw a strike.
So how would you see it?
So how would I know?
Touche. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Albert. Runner at first and a speedy one. Gary Robinson back in there. And young Brandon Duckworth has given him his very best moves right now. This kid looks like he's got a lot of poise. We'll reserve judgment for another couple of innings.
Well, one thing
looks pretty good so far.
You know, you don't know anything about him because he hasn't been roughed up yet. There's another good young umpire, Lance Barksdale. And I saw his family. He's from Minnesota. We look at Kerry getting back to the first base bag, sliding in the outside part.
Look at Kerry wearing that protection on his right hand as he uses that hand to get himself back to the bag. Kind of a shin guard version of a wrist guard there. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Now Pujols tired of waiting. And you know, this is the batter's prerogative. He's been standing out there a long time without seeing a pitch, and he needs to step out to make sure the pitcher doesn't get him all out of sync. 1-2 count. Breaking ball is low, and that evens things up 2-2. Cardinals now, Al, after that win last night, 41-24 at home. Second best in the league to the 41-23 of the Giants, who lost today. Seattle and the Yankees have the 2 best home records in all of baseball. And the funny thing about Seattle, their road record is better than the home record of any team in baseball. They won again on the road today at New York. Here's a 2-2, another throw over. Brandon Duckworth's pitch count not that high, but if you add the throws to first, he's had a busy first inning.
I think the one thing, they've got the veteran Pratt calling the game for these young pitchers, but Pratt this season has had 16 attempts, steal attempts again on him, and he has only nailed 1 base run.
2-2, runner holding. Albert fouls one away. In that Houston game today, Shane Reynolds was scratched because of a stiff back. So they started their 21-year-old Venezuelan Carlos Hernandez. 7 scoreless innings, retired the last 10 men he faced. Octavio Dotel got him some relief at the end, and the Astros beat the Pirates 3-0.
Jeff Bagwell in that game stole home.
Cool.
Straight steal of home.
Don't see that much anymore.
Well, it was a pickoff attempt at first base, and he just timed it at third base and came home by the time Craig Wilson threw. Now, Jimmy Anderson was the pitcher, and he was so slow throwing to first that the first baseman had no chance to throw it to the plate.
Yeah, it took 2 throws to get him. 2-2, Pujols fouls another. Albert's had a good battle here with Brandon Duckworth. So the Astros have won 3 in a row now over the Pirates, after the Cubs took 2 of 3 at Houston. And the Cubs tonight will throw Jason Beret 8-6 against Randy Johnson, who is 16-5 at the Bank One ballpark. We'll have some innings from that one before we get off the air tonight. Closer, still safe. And throwing that ball in the dirt, nearly threw it away.
In his lead over there, and still measured it pretty well to get back.
Another pitch, and this one's a fair ball. Scott Rowland with a long throw. Cardinals are gone in the bottom of the first. 1 runner stranded after 1 long inning at Busch Stadium. The Phillies lead.
Told me a minute ago, all I know is it's pretty neat. You guys are doing great things in the community.
Cardinals Care has had a great year this year. We're excited about what's been happening. We've been able to distribute a lot of money to different kids organizations this year.
You get so much help from the players, don't you? I mean, they're here from 2:30, 3 o'clock on a normal 7 o'clock game. Then they're out in the community at hospitals and helping kids.
Yeah, you know, Tony La Russa really sets the tone with the players, and these guys out in the community visiting with kids at daycare centers and hospitals and boys clubs, and then financially they contribute very generously, and then with their time, with autographs and everything. So,
off the top of your head, how much has Cardinals Care raised this year? Can you give me a figure?
We just gave away a round of grants. It was $250,000. That put us over the $3 million mark since '97. So.
And tomorrow's a big day, isn't it? What's going on tomorrow?
Rawlings jerseys off their back day. Fans can come down to the ballpark for $1 raffle chance, have an opportunity to win a Cardinal jersey.
All right, Tim Hanser, thank you very much. See, we ought to keep Tim here. If we did, Bud Smith would strike everybody out, guys.
All right, thank you, Rich. And Tim Hanser, Cardinals Care, wonderful job in the community. Al, I like those new baseball fields they've been building for the kids. Jim Edmonds Field was dedicated down in South St. Louis recently.
Sure, I know a couple of the children's charities that I do a little work with. I kind of asked those executive directors or put in a word for them through Tim Hanser and Cardinals Care, and both of them got grants.
That's great.
And, you know, talking about the players going to the hospitals, our good buddy Steve Klein, I know the other day he went to visit his buddy Michael Zuber at Children's Hospital, and I know Steve was telling me that we have to say hello to Michael every so often. Michael, I think, is waiting for a heart. And hopefully he gets one that's just half the size of Steve Klein's. He'll
Well
be in
put.
great shape.
Well said. 1-1 pitch after the strikeout. Bud Smith got Crespo on a changeup, and he misses outside to Todd Pratt. And you folks watching on our St. Louis audience on KPLR, you may notice the thunderstorm watch now in the St. Louis area. This time of the year, conditions in the Midwest can change very quickly. Looks like some counties off to our east still. We'll keep you posted. WB11 News at 9 team works on the weekends as well. We'll keep you posted on the latest weather. 3 balls and a strike. Bud hardly ever walks anybody, and he gets one by Todd Pratt to fill the count. Todd Pratt hitting .222, but with the Phillies in 9 games, he's batting .393 since coming over from the Mets. A home run, 4 RBIs. He had a base hit and a walk last night, and he continues to hit well in this series. Nice job by the veteran of going the other way. Phillies have 3 base hits tomorrow. What's on Tap brought to you by Bud Light. For the great taste that won't fill you up and never let you down, make it a Bud Light. Rich, Al, and yours truly here tomorrow at 1 o'clock. First pitch at 1:10 by Matt Morris. He'll be looking for number 16. And young David Coggin, another good young Philly pitcher with a record of 4-1.
We mentioned they have 3 young rookies in their rotation, so
Randy Wolf's supposed to come back soon.
yeah, they're actually thinking about going to a 6-man rotation when Randy Wolf comes back.
Randy's got a bunch of crazies out in the bleachers in a veteran stadium called the Wolf Pack. They wear wolf masks and all that furry stuff to the ball game whenever Randy Wolf pitches, so I'm sure they're eager to see him back. And strike 1 to Tomas Perez. There's a part-time player with a 6-game hitting streak. Cardinals would love a double play ball here, but the fastball rides high, and that evens the count 1-1.
Tomas on the season is 28 hits and 90 at-bats for a .311 average. He has 3 home runs coming into this year. He had a career total of 3.
He's a slick fielder, too. Originally saw him with Toronto a couple of years ago. There's a strike. It's always great when you can have guys come off the bench and bat for a high average. There's Renteria, who certainly batted for a high average lately. .351 during his hitting streak. He'll bat 3rd in the bottom of this inning. Maybe after he and Vigna turn a double play ball here. The 1-2 and a swing and a foul tip as Bud took a little bit off the breaking ball. Turned into a comfortable night here at the ballpark. 88 degrees at game time. And the breeze has cooled things off. It is blowing stiffly out toward the river. Outfield around to the right. Inside target. Fly ball right field. Slicing for the seats. And falling into the corner with Paquette running out of room.
Bud Smith has that excellent changeup, has the ability to spot his fastball, and the surprising pitch is how good his breaking ball has been. Anytime you talk to anybody from the minor leagues, they said, well, his breaking ball isn't good enough to pitch in the big leagues. We found just totally the opposite.
1 ball and 2 strikes. A drive to left. Kerry Robinson has to play it on a hop. He did the right thing. And the Phillies have.
I got a note here that says, please, please, please announce this birthday wish. Should I do it even though they misspelled my name?
They misspelled Al?
Yeah, they did.
What does it say? Dear all?
Kevin and Sandra Wingate want to wish their daughter, Heather Wingate, a happy first birthday, who is at home with Grandpa and Grandma.
Well, Grandpa and Grandma, stand up and cheer, because that's an inning-ending strikeout. Phillies get no runs on 2 hits. Bud comes up big. Edmonds leads off. Easier than ever to buy Cardinal tickets this year. Log on to STLCardinals.com, the official source for Cardinal tickets, STLCardinals.com. Then it says, connect with it.
Connect, huh?
You can get ticket information, statistics. You can go inside the numbers. Bank of America takes us there right now. Cardinals in August. Look at that. 9 games over 500 just this month. Great ERA. More running. A good team batting average. Scoring quite a bit. And even hitting the long ball, but not depending on it.
Oh, that's a good point. And you know, Tony is the last one that wants to depend on it. He wants to manufacture runs, but sometimes you have to have the complement of players to do so.
Here's Jim Edmonds. Well, this isn't so bad. Cardinals only down by 1 after all the runners the Phillies have had, and a strike to Jim, who has a 7-game hitting streak. Over his streak, he's batting .444, 12 for 27. The RBIs have started to bounce off of Edmonds' bat.
I was talking to Jim today. He said he's feeling much better and trusting himself and his strength. Asked him, what about a pitcher that you've never faced before? And he said, well, I'll watch a little bit of video, but I don't try to watch too much. If he's got a fastball, that's what I really want to look for.
1-1 delivery. Got him on the hands. Yeah, Jim Edmonds is a guy, he doesn't really like to talk philosophy of hitting a whole lot. When Jimmy's going well, in fact, and if he sees me coming with the tape recorder or Shannon for a radio game, he just about turns tail and runs, because he says every time I start thinking about what I'm doing up here, I kind of go south. I just want to see the ball and hit the ball.
Yeah, I mean, that's a very good point. You know, that people have to understand that so many of these athletes are so exceptionally fine-tuned, they really don't know what they do. Yeah. And if you ask them and they start thinking about it, it confuses them. But it's just more muscle memory and reaction.
2-2 pitch. Breaking ball got him. Backdoor variety. Duckworth started that thing outside, and he gets Jim Edmonds for his first K of the night.
You see this good breaking ball that we talked about, and there's what you're talking about, outside, and you have a tendency to give up on it a little bit, and then it breaks to the outside corner or thereabouts.
Greg Paquette next. And he is riding a 4-game hitting streak, 5 for his last 15, and that's pretty good for a guy who doesn't play every day. He's had more playing time lately, and very deservedly so. Saw him get a beautiful base hit to the opposite field last night.
Maybe a little refresher as to why I really like this home plate umpire is I think that he has a consistent strike zone, but it's a pitcher strike zone. You know, that if it's borderline, more times than not, he'll give it to the pitcher.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
And it can keep the game flowing pretty well as long as everybody knows that, hey, if it's close, he has a tendency to call the strike.
Yeah, and this is what we were talking about early in the season, Al, with the new strike zone. The hitters will make their adjustments. In many cases, they'll become better hitters if there are more strikes called. It doesn't serve anything for guys to be standing around 3-1 and walking all day. Now the count's 2-2.
You can have just as much offense. It's just you go up there, just, you know, knowing that you're going to think aggressively and be swinging rather than taking.
2-2 delivery. That got him on the inside corner. Paquette gave up on it. So he got Edmonds on a strike outside corner. Paquette looking inside, and 2 outs in the inning. Jeff Bernthal and Melanie Moon for all the latest news of the day. Dan Issa, a ton of sports highlights, and Marquina Brown will be keeping an eye on the weather this evening. They'll update you on the St. Louis weather, all the news and sports on WB11 News right after tonight's game. Marquina is going to be busy tonight. And here's Edgar Renteria, low and away, ball 1. Edgar with a 10-game hitting streak, 13 hits during that time.
There's 2 outs, and I'm going to plant a seed with you and talk about Nick's inning. Did you read the article that what Tony La Russa was talking about with the umpire strike zone with Mark McGwire?
Yes, sir.
We'll talk about that next inning.
All right. Al Raboski with the tees, and we'll talk about those and more in the third. The Phillies lead 1-0. Mark McGwire watching as we go top third. Hey, Cardinal fans, Sunday the 9th of September, Cardinals Dodgers, Pasta House, Coca-Cola Pennant Day. And this year's pennant for fans 15 and under with a paid admission features Darryl Kyle, courtesy of the Pasta House and Coca-Cola. That'll be Sunday the 9th of September, Cardinals Dodgers. Another great giveaway item for the Redbirds. And the top of the third, Doug Glanville leads off, and Bud Smith misses with a breaking ball. It's twilight time in St. Louis. Some fly balls here for the next half hour. Could be an adventure, as we're 5 minutes before 8 Central Time. There's a fly ball, well hit to center, but Edmonds cruises for it, waits for it. 1 out.
Bob, before the game, I went in the umpire's room, and Dave Phillips was not there, but Rick Reed, this is his 20th year in the big leagues. I asked him if he saw the article and asked him what he thought about Tony La Russa thinking that umpires have been taking advantage of Mark and his problems right now, physical and mental. And he said he thought it was more done so for Mark's benefit, or Tony just trying to, you know, show some support to Mark. But I tell you one thing, I'm getting more and more of a impression that Mark McGwire might call it quits. He is not having any fun. You know, he was not going to play this game for money, and he is. I've never seen him so frustrated.
Well, we had Mark on a Star of the Game show on radio last week in New York, and he looked at me kind of funny when I asked him for the interview after the game, because there were some other stars of the game. But Al, that's when he hit the home run that put him past Harmon Killebrew. And then Mark was very delightful during the interview in talking about the home run and the way things are going for him. He had taken a couple of days off, and then he helped the Cardinals win a game in New York by hitting that homer a week ago Saturday. And the one thing he said to me was, during that interview, he said, what I've got to do is try to battle my way through the rest of this year and then feel good during the offseason and then come back healthy next year. We certainly hope that will be the case, and not the former that you mentioned.
Yeah, because and I think it's wearing on him this ridiculous notion that you know, he doesn't win games for teams or contribute to wins. And I remember a game last year, it seemed like he hit a couple home runs, drove in 5 runs, and we lost 6-5, and everyone says, see, you can't win with Mark McGwire.
That's pretty ridiculous. There's a drive to left by Bobby Abreu. So the Phillies have had at least 1 hit in every inning. That's 5 in the game for him, and Bobby is 2 for 2. Boy, he's a good-looking player at this stage of his career.
Now, there was one time that I thought he was going to really struggle against left-handers, and he has really proven to be wrong with that. But seemed like he was vulnerable to the left-hander's breaking ball, but he has proven to be one of the best all-around players in the National League.
Bobby facially reminds you of Sammy a little bit. He's 27 years of age now, and some kind of ball player he's turned into. He's going to be flirting with 300 in his next debut. Pat Burrell next. He hit a comebacker, a sharply hit ground ball where Bud Smith took a hit away from him, ending the first.
Let's go back to Bobby Abreu's swing and just watch how steady his head is. Just does not move that head at all. The hands, the body move, but the head just goes right to the point of contact and finishes off looking where the ball goes. But if you kind of would make a mental impression of that swing and kind of what Mark McGwire is doing right now, because of he's lost his center of balance because he can't put his weight on his back leg. Everything starts moving forward, and so does his head, and that's part of the reason. Another quick snap throw to first. It's part of the reason why Mark appears not to pick up the ball, not at the release point, but maybe 20 feet after it's released from the pitcher's hand.
It's a little late at this level, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
1 ball and no strikes. The other thing Mark said at the tail end of that interview we did last week, I said, Mark, number 5 all time. Pretty good number, huh? He said, yeah, and hopefully many more.
Yeah,
so we all hope that.
And it's just, you know, I mean, Mark has got a lot of pride.
Ball 3. Phillies have had 2 base runners in every inning until now, and they may get another one here. Of Bud Smith can't get Burrow. He's got a switch hitter in Felipe Crespo on deck. We're nearing the 8 o'clock hour here in St. Louis. KPLR TV, Channel 11, St. Louis, WB 11, our Cardinal Network flagship station. I think Mr. Burrow was a little bit out ahead of that changeup, and our fans in those left field boxes were scrambling. Those flags are really whipping. There's some interesting looking clouds out toward the southeast of us over the land of Lincoln. Kind of the calm before something here. We'll have to wait and see what that something is. Outside target on 3-1, and Bud misses. First and second, 2 outs. That's only his first walk of the night, but Bud Smith has been behind a lot of batters, and that's usually not his MO. And the Phillies, if they don't score here, they'll be a little frustrated. They've been on the verge every inning of breaking this game open, haven't been able to do it so far. And this time it's the turn of Felipe Crespo.
Appears maybe a woman was hit by that line drive, but you know, you got all these people just turning their heads and watching that area where the foul ball went into, and you better watch out. You better be looking at home plate again.
Yeah, there could be another. Felipe Crespo, young man from Rio Piedras of Puerto Rico. He's a pretty good part-time player for Dusty Baker in Frisco the last couple of years. Now Bud goes 2-0 on him. Last inning, Bud went long on Jimmy Rollins before striking him out with 2 on 2 out. Not an easy outing for the young Cardinal lefty so far here. Pitch number 58 right here. And it's a high gas fastball for a strike. 2-1. Bud throws the fastball upper 80s, sometimes touches 90. That one 87. But with the changeup curveball combination, sometimes it looks a lot faster. Two balls and a strike. And a foul tip. Vina was making a move in behind the runner, and then Bud Smith went home anyway. Fernando hadn't come that far, so he wasn't way out of position. But if one of your infielders is at the bag, you may want to step off and not throw that ball home.
It's one of those things that, you know, you're taught not to make a pitch with one of your position players out of position. But sometimes as a pitcher, you feel like you've got to make your move to the plate now.
Ball 3. This will give the runners a chance to move.
Bud really doesn't have good command of that changeup right now. For a guy like him, that's a little bit a helpless feeling.
Because he's not going to blow people away. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 on, 2 out. Runners go, and a base hit to left center. Bobby Abreu will score. Burrow goes to third, and the Phillies lead 2-0. So they're playing some good small ball tonight. All 6 of their hits have been singles. And Bud's control problems have contributed, and Dave Duncan will head out for a visit. RBI number 12 for Felipe Crespo.
See, it's like he really slowed everything down and kind of telegraphed the changeup, and then he got it up, not out, down, where you get somebody to swing. That ball, that a changeup that's up is not a very attractive pitch to a pitcher, but it is one to a hitter.
That is sitting up there begging to be hit. Well, we got a bunch of Okies at the ball game tonight. Jim Pitts is here from Oolaga, Oklahoma, down there by Lake Oolaga. Aaron Phillips, Jed Phillips, Ryan Wadsworth are here with Jim from the Oolaga Legion baseball team. And some of those kids are seeing their first major league game. Jerry Stamper is here. Jerry is with a party of 6 from Metro Christian Academy in Tulsa, enjoying the Cardinals and the Phillies tonight, rooting for the Redbirds.
A real nice letter from Sheldon Walker. Some of his concerns, but it was really nice that we can say that was right before the 9-game winning streak. Many of his questions were answered with 9 wins in a row.
Now it's 1st and 3rd, 2 outs and a strike. Well, we know a lot of our fans care so much that they just have to speak up when things aren't going very well. But lately they've been able to speak up in a most positive fashion, and things have gone wonderfully. It's going to be a battle tonight. There's a drive to left field, but he got it off the end of the bat, and Kerry Robinson is under it. So Bud gets a routine fly ball to retire Todd Pratt. 2-0 Phillies after 3.5. 2.5. Breezy night at Busch Stadium as night falls in downtown St. Louis. Cardinals down by 2. Could be a lot worse than that. And we go bottom 3. It'll be Marrero, Bud Smith, and Fernando Vina.
Hey, Bob, we've got a really big Cardinal fan down at Three Rivers Healthcare Center in Poplar Bluff, Missouri. I know that room 323 is watching Cardinal baseball right now with L.W. Kingen. He's down there, big Cardinal fan, 86 years young. Hope he's feeling better, and I know a Cardinal win today would be the right medicine for him.
Well, a come-from-behind win would be a good dose for all of us, and our very best to that great Cardinal fan down in great Cardinal country in southeast Missouri.
Hang in there, L.W.
Eli jacks one down the left field line. It is off the wall. Might be a single, but it's bobbled by Burrell. And Marrero, a leadoff double. He really stung it. That's a good start. Only the Cardinals' second hit. And he almost hit it out.
Well, Eli, when he gets a hold of one, the ball jumps off his bat. It's so lively. There's the bobble by Burrell. But it has scored a double all the way.
If he comes up with that cleanly, he might have been able to hold Marrero to a single.
Now he has 15 assists out there in the outfield. Pick off plays late.
Good runner at second. Bud Smith with the bat. He's 3 for 12 with the stick as a major leaguer. And he has 1 sacrifice bunt. So the Cardinals a chance to cut the lead in half right here with a bunt and a fly ball. There's the bunt, but it's foul. Strike 1. Well, those Twins have scored a couple of runs trying to avoid their 9th straight loss. They lead Tampa Bay 2-1 after 4.5 at home. Cleveland won their game today, so the Minnesota Ball Club 5 games out of first place now. A lot of American League action over already. In fact, the rest of it all is all day games. Up and away, ball 1. National League, Milwaukee 1-0 at Cincinnati after 6. And in the 4th at Colorado, Rockies bat. They lead Florida 1-0. If you missed it, Al told you the Braves beat the Giants today 3-1. And Barry Bonds hit number 54. And the Astros, behind rookie Carlos Hernandez, shut out Pittsburgh 3-0. They're in first place. Bud lays off. Nice job. Ball 2. A lot of guys would have considered that close enough, and a pitch up and away, you might foul that off, and then you've got a difficult bunting situation with a 1-2 count.
Duckworth's tried to get him to chase a couple balls up.
He deadens that one. It's going to go foul. No, it won't. Rolen waited and waited, and then he figured, I can't wait any longer, because if it doesn't squirt foul, it's a base hit.
No.
And a good job by Bud Smith.
It was a very good job by Bud Smith, and I thought Rolen made the proper decision.
Get the out while you can, right?
Yeah, I mean, you know, he sit there and thought about it was going to roll foul. Bud, keep on going. But as he sits there and he lays off, it says it's a good bunt, it's going to go foul. But when it didn't go foul, and we've seen it times where the ball actually will come back towards the grass instead of going into foul territory. So he did make the right play and get at least an out.
Yeah, and then if you make a mistake on the bunt play, you're giving the other team a potential big inning.
Right, and you got to get this runner in.
Here's Vigna. Fernando, that'll get a run home. That ball will drop into right center. Cardinals are on the board. Fernando delivers. It's a 2-1 game.
Well, not really pretty, but it's just effective, kind of off the end of the bat. And it goes out here. Glanville tries to deke Marrero to think he's going to make the catch. Marrero was kind of going back to the bat, getting prepared to tag up if he had to. And when he saw it fall in front of Glanville, he, with his good speed, easily comes home with the first run. Cut that lead in half.
Thanks to the sacrifice bunt after the double. And here's Polanco. And Tony. He likes to hit and run. This is a good situation for it. One out. Vigna at first. We talked about this last night. Even if you start a runner and hit into a double play here, you still have a leadoff type hitter, and there he is, Kerry Robinson, to lead off next inning ahead of Pujols and Edmonds. So it's a rather non-lose situation for La Russa here. Vigna, short lead, and time. Mark Wegner, the umpire, giving the visual sign by stepping out from behind the catcher so that everybody in the field of play could see.
A lot of little subtle things here that Duckworth does. Remember, you get a lead, you got a good chance to steal off of Pratt.
Runner holding, pitch out, ball one. Tony doesn't often hit and run on the first pitch, but he doesn't always wait for that old standard 2-1 count either.
No, I mean, so many times managers, you know, all these guys played on those same rules, and a lot of the old traditional running counts are not running counts of today.
Vigna holding again. Ball two inside.
That also helps. Now this situation helps create one, because if you talk to Tony, one thing he'll say, if you're going to think about a hit and run, you've got to have a batter at the plate that makes contact. You have to have a count where you think he's going to throw a strike. And 2-0, you would think it'd be a strike.
Runner holding. Big rip by Polanco, and he just couldn't get over the top of it. And the count's 2-1. Placido had a good swing at that. He's got a base hit tonight. He's batting .322. I thought Jack Buck said something wonderful on the radio last night after we signed off, calling Polanco's game-winning fly ball. Jack said this kid has just about played perfect baseball this year. All those little things put together. The 2-1 and a bouncer to third, foul.
And if you talk to Tony La Russa, he'll tell you that Polanco has played himself into one of his all-time favorites. And Tony will tell you that Polanco will probably be playing the outfield next year.
How about Polanco? His career batting average coming into this season, .292. If he keeps this up, he's going to have a career batting average of .300 or better by the time he reports to Jupiter next spring.
It couldn't happen to a better young man.
He's a great kid. 2-2 count. Goes to right field. They're playing him near the line, and it'll be caught by Abreu. Good scouting by the Phillies, and that's the second out here in the third inning. That's why you have advanced scouts roaming ballparks all over the country. Before you play certain teams, you play them a certain way, you pitch them a certain way, and those hitters have those tendencies. And Polanco is a right field hitter against a right-handed pitcher most of the time.
Well, it's so sophisticated now, not only the advanced scouts, but
Videotape.
the videotape of, you have every game that Duckworth has pitched in the major leagues, which is a total of 2. They have the tapes of those games, and players watch them, but the coaches study them.
Gary Robinson takes a breaking ball in there.
They will record almost every pitch he throws to every major league hitter. Break it down to how many breaking balls, how many strikes, how many balls, left-handed, right-handed batters.
One of the best scouts in baseball is in the ballpark tonight. He works for the Phillies. His name is Gordon Lakey. He lives down in Houston. Gordon worked a lot of years for Pat Gillick in Toronto. And I saw him huddling with Ed Wade, the Phillies GM, before the game. And Al, those GMs, they really depend a lot on the reports they get from these outstanding scouts. 1 ball, 1 strike to Kerry Robinson. Pujols next. Change up, base hit, right field. Vigna will stop at second. He's smart enough not to round that bag too far with Bobby Abreu throwing. And the Cardinals have 3 hits in the inning, and Albert Pujols can tie this thing up or give the Cardinals the lead.
Now you see Vigna remembers, that's Bobby Abreu. Got that good throwing arm, and learned that, if he didn't know it already, by Pujols getting thrown out. But I'll tell you what, Bobby Abreu comes to play all the time, but I'm sure that we'll see Albert Pujols will learn from that mistake. And that's the whole key. Everybody makes mistakes. It's just, do you learn from them?
What a time for a 2-out RBI or more right here. Cardinals down 2-1. That's a hard-breaking ball for a strike, similar to the one Duckworth started Pujols out on last time before getting him to ground out to third. Remember that at bat? Albert had about 5 or 6 foul balls during that AB. With a runner on back in the first. He's got 2 aboard here. Nice pitch. 0-2. Kept it down and a little bit away from the big power hitter.
I'll give you an idea about the batter or the pitcher that he is facing. Duckworth was on pace to become just the 4th pitcher in a 118-year history of the International League to win the pitcher's triple crown: wins, ERA, and strikeouts.
Wow.
You know who the last pitcher to accomplish that feat was?
When was it? How many years, you say?
In 118 years of league, there's been 4. The last one was in 1976.
Internationally.
Internationally for Rochester.
Which was a Baltimore farm club. I'll say Jim Palmer.
How about El Presidente? Palmer was near the end of his career in 76.
Okay.
El Presidente.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Dennis Martinez, 14-8, 250 ERA, and 140 strikeouts.
Wow.
And
Triple crown of pitching.
And he was on pace to do that in the International League before he was called up.
1-2 the count. High, ball 2.
Duckworth's numbers in the International League were 13-2, 2.63 ERA, 20 starts, 2 complete games, 1 shutout. He had 147 innings, allowed 122 hits, struck out 150 with 36 base on balls.
Wow. And as I mentioned, an overall 52-24 record in the minors. Albert holds off ball 3. This is big because now the Cardinals, with 2 of their best base runners, will be able to get them going on a 3-2 pitch.
And Jose Oquendo was just telling Vigna, and Dave McKay probably passed it on, but particularly Vigna, watch for that turn backwards and throw to second base.
3-2 pitch. Runners go. Ground ball. Ball! Left field corner. Vigna scores. Robinson around third. Oquendo trying to stop him. He scores. Cardinals on top. Albert Pujols delivers 2 RBIs And the Redbirds have battled to a 3-2 lead here in the third inning. And what kind of throw was that from Pat Burrell?
Well, Pat Burrell has a good throwing arm. You know, he's a converted infielder, but he's thrown out 15 runners. So he comes up bare hands. He may not have had it on his fingertips, so he one-hops his cutoff man, and he lets it go through all the way. So he reaches down, didn't get it out on his fingertips, threw it right into the dirt. They let it go through, and that guaranteed that Carey scores, and Pujols finds himself out at second base. 90 RBIs for the rookie now.
Wow. It appeared Oquendo, anticipating a good throw, might have been trying to stop Burrell, waving his arm. He looked like a railroad crossing, waving those arms, and Carey said, "I'm out of here."
That's what I'm saying. He had 15 assists. He's tops in, you know, one of the tops in the league. So Oquendo's going by that because he got to the ball quickly. He wasn't that deep. He came up firing, but he anticipated a good throw, and it paid off that they let him go through. Now intentional pass.
And down the line, Al, when the ball does hit off the Southwest Airlines sign and Karam's out in front of the fielder, it makes it a much more difficult base running play to score from second or from first in this instance with the runners moving. That ball squirts down into the corner. It's a no-brainer, but that one hit the sign and bounced out in front of the left fielder. They will walk Edmonds, setting up first and second, and Greg Paquette will be the 8th Cardinal to bat in the inning. And who knows, maybe Edgar gets up here as well.
One more time, those 2 more RBIs give Pujols 90.
We'll have another look at what Jose was trying to do there.
And you got 2 outs. You have Edmonds coming up, but you see him trying to stop him. He actually gets a good job of not interfering with the base runner. But with a poor throw, Robinson comes home easily. Vigna helping out. Edmonds helping out. But it's the speed.
Is it fun to watch these guys run the bases? I know the Cardinals, a lot of fans have criticized them the last couple of years of standing around waiting for home runs. That is not the case with this ball club right now. And that's no knock at all on Big Mac. We've just got some guys that are out there manufacturing some runs, and it's exciting to watch. There's a strike to Paquette, who was called out on strikes first time up. And a base hit here makes it a huge inning.
And that was a fastball there. There's a Paquette, his gap power. You got to play a little deeper. Pujols, remember, doesn't have the best foot speed.
Paquette pulls it down to third, to the bag, rolling. Cardinals get 3 runs, 4 hits, strand a couple, big hits by Pujols and Vigna, and the Cards are on top.
Big inning for the Cardinals. They lead 3-2, top of the 4th. We are pleased to be joined by Mike Eisenbath, and I can't wait until tomorrow. I bet many of you folks can't either. You get up, you scratch a couple of times, you read the Sunday paper, and tomorrow a wonderful story about Tony La Russa, who, in my opinion, and I'll give it to you now, Mike, is one of the most misunderstood guys that I've ever seen. I can't figure out why people in St. Louis don't like this man.
I don't know. Bahir Gorian, I thought, did a great job with the story, and I think when you walk away from it, I think you see basically that Tony's just a guy. He's very complex, but aren't we all in a lot of ways? And I don't know, maybe people don't just understand someone who is so completely dedicated to what he does that sometimes it consumes him to the point that he doesn't care what other people think about him.
We had a graphic earlier that portrayed Tony as one of the winningest managers certainly going now, and really of all time. He does get a lot of criticism, and I still, again, scratch my head from time to time to see what happens as Albert goes up strong and makes a whale of a catch. Earlier the week we saw Vigna leap about 4 stories to get one. That's what Albert Pujols did. I cannot quite figure it out. So tell me a little bit about the article in Bahi's take on it.
Well, I think what Bahi basically did was portray that there's 2 sides to the man. Kind of he's a paradox in a lot of ways. You know, one of the things that really jumps out at you after you know Tony for a while, he talks about how he likes to manage with his gut, but he also goes by numbers an awful lot. So, I mean, there's both sides to him, and it shows up in a lot of different areas.
As you talk to him day to day, what kind of deficiencies do you see as the ball gets through? Duckworth around first. He'll tug into second for the stand-up double. You talk to Tony. I talk to him a great deal. Do you see any deficiencies? Have you criticized him before?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing with Tony is sometimes maybe he takes everything just a little too seriously. You know, there's 162 games, and as much as he'll talk about it's a marathon, it's not a sprint, and you have to not get too high or too low, you know, he gets really high after wins and really low after losses. And I think sometimes he'll make decisions based on those moods. And, you know, you really can't do that. You have to understand that it's such a long year. You've got to really kind of take it a little easier than that.
You've seen players that will criticize him. You've seen players that love him. Has he treated you fairly?
He's treated me great. I get along well with him. You know, he's occasionally shot down a stupid question, and he's allowed me to criticize him now and then. But I think that's just I think that's a natural, healthy relationship in a lot of ways.
Well, great reading tomorrow morning. You folks pick it up all over the listening and viewing area. Tony La Russa, big portrayal with him tomorrow. We look forward to it, Mike. Thank you.
All right, take care.
Okay, guys, back to you.
Great interview, Rich, and our thanks to Mike Eisenbath. We'll look forward to that tomorrow. 1 ball, 1 strike. Bud Smith just gave up a double to Brandon Duckworth, his first career Major League extra base hit. And the Phillies have 7 hits in this game. The 1-1, and that's off the end of the bat, right down at the bottom of the barrel, or the top, if you will, and the count's 1-2. I'll say one thing about Tony. Tony La Russa is a family man as well. His daughter Bianca is in town this weekend, and Tony has had a smile on his face a mile wide, sharing these good Cardinal times with his beautiful daughter. Swing and a miss. Bud Smith with a changeup, and he fans Jimmy Rollins for the second time. 4 strikeouts for Bud. That's a big one. Now he's got Doug Glanville coming in.
Well, you see that strikeout and had him go after a pitch that he could not handle. So, but even though he hasn't had his best stuff here tonight, he's still competing.
2 outs. Glanville 1 for 2. Yeah, this may be one of those nights when Tony and Dunk will nurse their young pitcher through 5 or 6 innings and then let that good bullpen go to work. Dave Duncan pleased with the work of Mike Timlin last night. There's a drive hooking foul into the left field corner. Had a chance to visit with Mike Timlin for a little while in the clubhouse this afternoon. He says he feels great. No problems at all with the knee. There's Bianca La Russa with her boyfriend.
She'll never get to leave. Been here for 2 nights.
Tony is superstitious. If they keep winning, daughter's staying in town. But Tony is a very proud dad. I think her boyfriend's name's Chris, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, it is.
And a fly ball. If it's fair, it's gone. It is a foul ball.
Oh, Dave Phillips is our favorite umpire. See the ball just going to the left of the foul pole. There you go.
Wow.
So very close, and Dave Phillips right on it with a good call.
Did he raise both hands like a strike called? I think he did. That's what the umpires are supposed to do in a foul ball. It's 0-2 to Glanville. Cardinals will stay away from him now, and Bud misses outside with a changeup, and the count's 1-2.
If you're a pitcher, you just say that was a big strike, and just be one closer to getting out of this inning.
There it is. Wins a changeup, no longer a changeup. If you've got the arm motion, you can throw it a couple of times in a row. Bud strikes out 5. Cardinals still lead. Bottom of the 4th inning, Cardinals lead the Phillies 3-2. Exciting ball game tonight. And a week from tomorrow, there will be some excitement across the river as the Gateway Indy 250 comes our way at Gateway International Raceway. And looking for the big W, Robbie McGehee. Good to see you, buddy.
Thank you very much.
Robbie, a Ladue boy who will be competing, but you're playing hurt right now. What's with the big walking cast you've got on the left leg there?
Yeah, we had a little accident down in at Texas Motor Speedway on June 9th where I fractured my tibia and fibula in about 5 or 10 places, and I have some hardware in there now, but it's not keeping me from racing. I've raced the last 3 races and certainly look forward to racing here at home.
Is that something you just kind of have to block out of your mind and pretend you're 100% healthy in that car?
Yeah, I mean, it's my left leg, so it's a clutch leg. People involved in racing really understand the passion of what it's like to be involved, and I just couldn't sit and watch from the sidelines. That one for me.
I wonder if the Ladue police are listening to this interview tonight. More on that in a minute. Al Raboski just shared a story with me about Robbie, and I got to find out if this is true about your mom. Here we go. It's Renteria for the Cardinals, bottom of the fourth. That's inside. I guess you got pulled over one night by the cops in Ladue, and they said, wait till we tell your mom. And as it turned out, you were drag racing your mother?
She was right in front of me. She got pulled over at the same time I did. It was pretty embarrassing.
Oh, my. That's cool. 2-0. Did they give you a ticket?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
No, you didn't get off with a warning, huh?
No, no, no.
Not that time. Edgar Renteria, Eli Marrero, and Bud Smith for the Cardinals in the bottom of the fourth. Dave Duncan talking mechanics. Looks like a little leg cock he's talking about with Bud Smith. And it's 3-0. Well, what's the key going to be for you at Gateway International next Sunday, Robbie, and some of the guys you're going to be competing against?
Well, it's obviously a very competitive league. I think the real key is going to be just, driving a smart race. And we just got to hope we're going to be there at the end and up front.
Here's a 3-0 pitch. Edgar takes a strike. We've talked in the past to some of the NASCAR guys who race over there, and they like the track. How is it for IndyCar racing?
I actually have never been on it in IndyCar. I've driven a Formula Ford 2000 over there, and the guys that have tested there, I've talked to them, and they said it's a great track.
There's a leadoff walk. That's a good start. Robbie, are you a big Cardinal fan?
Oh, absolutely. Growing up in St. Louis, it's hard not to be a Cardinal and Rams fan.
Yeah.
And Blues fan.
Eli Marrero will step in with a leadoff man aboard here in the bottom of the fourth, and the Cardinals already on top by a score of 3-2. Well, the Cardinals have supported you greatly. Mark Lamping, I know, has been following you since you're a local boy, and the Cardinals have definitely supported you in your time.
Well, I think it's going to be really great to have the Cardinals logo all over the car, and it's going to make it a real recognizable and hopefully one of the most likable cars on the track.
Well, I guarantee you, buddy, if you can drive as fast as Kerry Robinson, another local boy, runs, you're going to be in good shape a week from tomorrow.
I hope so.
It's been fun watching these Redbirds. We're visiting with Robbie McGehee. Did I get that right, or is it just McGee?
It's just McGee, actually.
Okay.
Spelled McGee, though.
Right. And a foul back from Eli, who got that rally started last inning with a leadoff double. And how do your parents like you doing all this Indy racing?
Oh, they love it. I think my mom's the one who got me into it. She's from the Indianapolis area, and I've been just into racing since I've been 5 years old.
We're looking at an artist rendering of your car. Big Cardinal logo on the side, on the top. That is looking great. And the 0-1 instead of throw to first, and Renteria is back in there. Is it tougher to race in the old hometown, or are you a little more relaxed when you go elsewhere?
I think I'm probably more relaxed when I go elsewhere. There's a lot of added pressures of being here in front of my home crowd. I hope they don't expect me to perform any better than normal. I'm going to go out and do my best. So
the 0-1 delivery. Big breaking ball is in there, and it's 0-2. Well, Robbie, we'd like to wish you all the best. First of all, continued good health and a good recovery from that broken leg, and have a great race and a safe one next Sunday.
Thank you very much.
Good to see you, buddy.
Okay, take care.
That's Robbie McGee, who'll be racing over at Gateway International a week from tomorrow in the Gateway Indy 250. We've got such great athletes here from the St. Louis area. Eli hits one hard up the middle. Good play by Rollins, and they will turn the double play. Jimmy Rollins on a hot shot, and that'll be one of the better 6-4 threes we've seen at Busch Stadium this year. We mentioned earlier, Jimmy Rollins, a rookie, playing arguably the most demanding defensive position on the field along with catcher, has only made 10 errors this year. And he's one of the reasons the Phillies are statistically the best defensive team in the National League with only 66 errors in 121 games. Oh, that's a good-looking young player. Jimmy Rollins from Oakland, California. Still lives out there in Alameda. 2 balls and no strikes now to Bud Smith, who sacrificed his first time. And Jimmy's not a big guy at all. He's only 5'8", 165, so he's a Vina Polanco type. So this is a weekend for the little guys to shine at Busch Stadium, isn't it? Bud's done okay hitting so far, 3 for 12 with a couple of sacrifices. He gets a good hack there, and it's a one-hopper over to Scott Rowland. A great double play started by Rollins. Rowland gets the final out, and the Cardinals are gone in the 4th. Redbirds lead 3-2. Monday, September 17th, Cards Brewers AMC Theaters player action photo night. All fans 15 and under with a paid admission. You'll take home an action photo featuring J.D. Drew. Bottom of the action photo comes with a coupon good for a free small popcorn courtesy of AMC Theaters. Monday, September 17th, Cardinals and the Brew Crew.
So I'd get along with Robbie McGee.
I wouldn't want to drive against him. There's a drive. Speaking of drives, to left field from Scott Rowland. Kerry Robinson jumps. The ball is gone. It hit the top of the wall and went over. Kerry jumped. Might have been a little offline. And Scott Rowland, with his 17th of the year and his 80th RBI, ties the game on the first pitch of the 5th inning.
125th career home run for Scott. And I thought it was just a high towering fly ball that wouldn't carry out. And what carried was Kerry got, you know, he really had a funny jump. He jumped but never got altitude. He was like too far away from the fence, and it hit right on top. If he had one more step and then jumped, I think he could have brought it back in, but as it is, on top of the fence and propelled forward for the home run.
And he probably heard it hit the top of the fence, thinking the ball was still in play. We are tied. Bobby Abreu next, and the 0-1 pitch from Bud Smith, who's just given up his 7th home run as a major league pitcher.
Now all 7 of those home runs have come to right-handed batters.
That is correct, sir. 1-1 to Bobby Abreu, and that ball is in there for a strike. 1-2. Andy Bennis working in the Cardinal bullpen. We told you the Cardinals might be happy with 5 innings or so by Bud tonight.
Well, his pitch count is so high in the early going, so he's got to be near that 100 pitch mark right now. And Andy Bennis told me life in the bullpen is like a youngster going to detention or put in timeout.
With some of the characters he's been hanging with down there.
Going
1-2 and a foul ball.
I think he's afraid of some of his newfound teammates in the bullpen or the playpen.
That is a cast of characters out there, and led by you-know-who. There he is on your right, Steve Klein, stomping around here in the 5th inning. He is something else. 1 ball and 2 strikes. And a breaking ball low, 2-2. I guess you would have to call Andy one of the most normal guys on the team. And for him to be out there is a totally different world for him. 2-2 and a high fly ball on the infield. Polanco, the initial call, then Renteria takes it for the first out.
What happened in this day in 1965 in baseball Schnucks history?
Well, let's tell you about it. This day in baseball history brought to you by Schnucks. Hank Aaron denied a homer. Chris Pelakudis, who was a longtime National League umpire, called Hammer and Hank out of the box. So I guess he really hit 756 home runs, but one got taken away.
I'm trying to think, who was the pitcher? The left-handed change-up pitcher.
Would have been Kurt Simmons.
Kurt Simmons. Kurt Simmons could. Hank Aaron could not get a hit off of Kurt Simmons. So he saw one of those change-ups coming. He ran up in front of the batter's box, hit the home run. As he's going around the bases, he knew when he came around third, Pelakudis was sitting there waving off the home run. And Hank Aaron's response was, "I know I'm out, but I had to do it anyway."
There's a ball hooked into the corner by Burrell.
Couldn't go through life knowing that Kurt Simmons had retired him like every time he faced him or never hit a ball hard off him.
Kurt Simmons was an outstanding Cardinal pitcher with a big herky-jerky motion. Well, you face Kurt Simmons one day and Bob Gibson the next day. It looked like Gibby was throwing 105 miles an hour. And that pavilion at the old ballpark, it was only 310 down the line. And they put a screen on that 40-foot pavilion out to the 354 mark in right center to prevent cheap home runs from flying in there. Stan the Man had a lot of doubles off of that screen. 2-2 to Pat Burrell. Tie game, top of the 5th. And a little change up away and a bouncer to the charging Polanco. 2 down.
Don reach for that changeup and pull it, and it's going to go to the left side of the infield, and usually it's going to be an out. Happy birthday to Casey and Allie from Daddy and Christian.
By the way, our buddy Tom Zapanzi, his wife Dee Dee, had a baby boy, William Thomas, in the last day or so. Our very best to them, Tom and Dee Dee.
And apparently Daryl Kyle's still here, but he
tomorrow.
Tomorrow they're going to induce his wife Flynn.
And our very best to the Kyles on their 3rd on the way.
Probably left right after batting practice, wouldn't you think? Or is he still in here?
I thought he told me he was going to leave in the morning.
Okay. Efficiency.
I did notice that Daryl, yeah, I see him down there. I did notice that Daryl stayed in the dugout almost the entire ball game after being taken out last night. There's a mile-high pop-up. Renteria out. Carried there to help if needed. And that's it for the Phillies in the top of the 5th. But Scott Rowland ties the game on his 17th home run halfway through. 3-3. Beautiful night in downtown St. Louis. Lots of kiddos in the ballpark tonight with mom and dad having a great time. A little mid-game snooze. He'll check back in for a late rally at some point. And we go bottom of the 5th inning. Top of the order for the Cardinals. It'll be Vina, Polanco, and Robinson. And then in the next half inning, we'll see what Tony does regarding Bud Smith. Fernando 1 for 2 with an RBI and a run. He showed bunt and pulled the bat back. Scott Rowland playing shallow at 3rd. As the 5th inning gets underway, Cardinals have 3 runs on 5 hits, so they've been pretty efficient. They got all 3 of the runs on 4 base hits back in the 3rd. Fernando up the middle, base hit. He's 2 for 3. Vina has 4 hits in this series. He's been on base 5 times in 2 nights, and that's a good start with Polanco coming up.
4 for 6, right back through the box up the middle. And Bob, I was about ready to say, with that Cubs getting ready to take on the Diamondbacks and Randy Johnson in about 15 minutes or so, good time for us to post a lead in this game and keep it. The Cubbies have already seen the Houston Astros win this afternoon, and they find themselves a half game behind the Astros. And if the Cardinals can put the pressure by winning.
First pitch to Polanco, and he bunts it in the air, but it falls, and that's a hit. They couldn't get it on a fly. Then it bounced off the shin guard of Todd Pratt, and the Cardinals get a huge break.
Boy, look like the pop-up. You go, uh-oh, they could double this up. But just out there where nobody could catch it, and pitcher charging, catcher coming in. There you see you go, bad things, but then when it falls here, it hits the shin guard, so if he would even deflect it into foul territory, it's still a fair ball. And Vina got down to 2nd, and Pratt does the right thing. Did you see the thing about this Duckworth, though, is they say that's not going to phase him. He's not going to give in, even though they've got runners on 1st and 2nd and nobody out.
I'll say one thing about Polanco. He never took his eye off the ball. He was running to first base, looking backwards. And here's Kerry Robinson, 1 for 2. He has a base hit. Pujols is next. He has a couple of RBIs. So tonight we teased you with the Mighty Mites, and the little guys have been on base 5 times tonight, all singles, and Vina has an RBI.
Couple runs scored, one by Vigna and Robinson.
And you put some pressure on them here in a bunting situation, if it is. And Carey intelligently on a ball way inside, pulls the bat back and takes ball one.
They're doing whatever they can to try and keep Vigna close at second base so they can get the lead runner at third.
So Scott Rowland trying to hang around that bag. So Carey's objective, if he's bunting, is to hit a semi-hard ground ball on the bunt right at Scott Rowland. Play at second. A better throw might have had Vigna, but it was a little bit to the first base side. Is that our buddy Cliff Polite throwing out there?
Yes, it is. Cliff Polite. There's the pickoff. He had snuck in behind Vigna, but he was so far in front of the bag, and then the bag was to the first base side of second, that Vigna was able to get back in.
They're going to jam him again.
No, they aren't.
Runners were going in a swing and a foul, so Carey does a good job of protecting the runners on a difficult pitch.
Tony La Russa, you know, he is so good at putting on one thing and then getting very aggressive by starting the runners and putting on a little hit and run. See, the thing for the batter is you've got to hit down on the ball. And you saw him try to go down to hit the ball on the ground. You don't want to hit the ball in the air and then end up having a triple play. Watch the catcher, Pratt. He tried to carry his momentum as if he's throwing to third without the ball. There's perfect.
Absolutely perfect. And it took a good play by Rowland to throw him out. So you take your shot on one pitch and then you bunt. And the Cardinals play it picture perfectly. We'll see if they walk Pujols. But the problem is, this is a righty-righty matchup, and Edmonds is on deck. So maybe they go after Albert and then walk Edmonds if they have to.
See right there, the pitcher almost got in the way, but an exceptional play by Rollins, who wins those Gold Gloves the last couple of years. And Carey, with that great speed, he should always be running hard. Just get a few base hits. Comes up short on this one, but it took an exceptional play by Rollins.
Our guys in the truck have, Al, 3.6 seconds from the time of contact. That's bat on ball to the time of foot on bag contact at first base.
And remember, you stand flat-footed to make that sacrifice.
Here's Pujols. Broken bat grounder, contact play, throw home, and Vigna is out. The other runner does go to third, Polanco. Albert got jammed and busted his bat, and the Cardinals don't score. Now the Phillies can get out of the inning.
All right, go on contact means when the ball's hit, you take off, you come here, and there you see the throw by Rowan, and Vigna tries to bowl over Pratt, a much bigger guy, but Todd knows that you just take the contact and then just spin away from it to not get any of the force. Just kind of let your body fall backwards and hold on to the ball with both hands.
All 6'3", 230 of him. First and third, 2 outs now, and it'll take a 2-out RBI by Jim Edmonds to put the Cardinals on top. Edmonds tonight a strikeout and an intentional walk. 7-game hitting streak on the line, and a Cardinal lead out there to grab right here in the 5th inning. Outside with a changeup, ball 1. Cardinal crowd wants a 2-out hit. 3-3 game, bottom of the 5th. Outside, ball 2. A long 5 innings here to start the evening.
They don't have to give in to Edmonds.
Paquette next, and a breaking ball stays high, ball 3. I'd be surprised to see a fastball down the middle here.
Sometimes you wonder if Boa wouldn't be smarter to just go ahead and intentionally pass Edmonds now that it's 3-0. Not allowing a youngster to make a fatal mistake.
They try to jam him here. And he gets the inside corner with a fastball.
And Jimmy's saying, okay, I'll take that same pitch one more time.
Now just step back and whack that thing down the right field line. We'll see.
Well, he's normally looking for the fastball. And
3-1 the count. He got a pitch down and in. He was a little slow with it. That was a changeup, and it slowed down his bat. Now with a full count, the Cardinals get a break. Pujols can be running off first. Albert not the fastest guy on the team, and maybe a 2-out gapper would score him. Jim Edmonds has been swinging a home run and RBI bat for the last week. Phillies play him way around to the right.
And Abreu is very deep.
3-2 pitch. Swing and a miss on a high fastball. And the Cardinals fail to score after having a runner at third and 1 out. Good job by the rookie Brandon Duckworth. And the game stays tied after 5. Special day and time tomorrow. Double episode of Sabrina, the Teenage Witch on WB11. That'll be at 12 and 12:30 tomorrow, right before Cardinal baseball. Rich Gould is with one of the great voices in all of sport, Mr. Harry Kalas.
You've been one of the great voices, one of the great gentlemen. Harry Kalas joins us, talking a little bit about his ball club and Larry Boa. You know, Don Baylor's doing wonderful things, but between Baylor and Boa, I don't know who I'd pick for manager of the year, do you?
Yeah, I would have to say Larry's certainly a strong candidate because this team lost 97 games last year, and here they are in the thick of things in National League East. So it's been a fun year, and he's got a young club.
Fighting the team that has been there so many, many times, and I think a lot of people still believe the Braves might get there, but still, the more the Phillies get into, the deeper they get into it, they believe, don't they, Harry?
Well, the Braves have dominated the division, 9 consecutive division titles, but I think they are right to be had this year if the Phillies can continue to play well, because I don't think the Braves are quite what they have been in the past few years.
In St. Louis, there's Jack Buck. In Philadelphia, there's Harry Kalas. But nationally, because of your voice on NFL films, how many years have you been doing that, Harry?
Well, I started in 1975. Wow. Foul ball. It's the second foul ball.
Don't be afraid to call anything you see. Just start calling it. Bob Carpenter and Rabowski, they won't mind. They'll go get a soda.
Second one that was out of here, only just barely foul. But yeah, I started with NFL films in '75. When the late, great John Facenda was doing the brunt of the work, I did some things, and that's evolved very nicely for me, yeah.
And with the Phillies, how many years, Harry?
My 31st year with the Phillies.
Well, we sure appreciate you taking the time. You got to get back to the booth. Thank you so much. Always a great thrill to see you, sir.
Rich, great to see you, and we got another good ball game. These two teams, you know, this is like type, this is like postseason type ball games. They're fun.
Yes, it is. Harry Kalas, guys, back to you.
What a guy. He is. You just hear that voice, and you can see that slow motion of the football flying through the air. Maybe a Lynn Swan on the other end of it. Harry Kalas, a great voice. We didn't really see Gene Steckschulte warming up. Next thing we know, thinking Andy Bennis is coming in, it turns out to be Steckschulte.
Yeah, we apologize because I was even thinking when was Andy make his last tosses, let alone Gene. I think we're not surprised that Tony went to the bullpen because Bud Smith pitched 92 pitches and labored through there. There's Big Andy. So he's back at detention.
Back in timeout.
Back in timeout.
With
That's
his
right.
playmates. 2 balls and 2 strikes. We don't want to make light of Andy Bennis' situation. Andy is a starter, has always been one, wants to be one, but he's an old pro. He's going to do whatever he can to help this ball club.
He's going to ride the bike. Got a stationary bike.
They have a tricycle out there for Klein right next to that exercise bike. We owe you station ID here, so let's tell you here at the 9 o'clock hour. You're watching Cardinal baseball on KPLR TV St. Louis, WB11, your Cardinal Network flagship station. Steckschulte and Todd Pratt, top of the 6th. 2-2 pitch. And that went right through the mid of Marrero. Eli looking at his webbing. That ball wasn't that far out of the strike zone, and it went right through Marrero's mid.
Eli is wanting the ball down, but just going out there and missing it.
Huh.
So glad that wasn't a swing.
Now a 3-2 outside. This is an opportunistic ball club. Bud Smith only walked one man in his 5 innings, but he was behind a lot of guys. He gave up 8 hits, struck out 5, 3 runs on 5 hits. But the thing about Bud Smith, on a night when he obviously was not at his best, he did a good job of battling his way through 5 innings and keeping the Cardinals in the game. It would have been very easy for him, Al, to get bombed in one of those first 3 innings.
Yeah, but I mean, that's what he keeps on battling. He has that ability not to dwell on the negative or get a couple guys on and think, oh, well, I don't have good stuff, I can't get out of it. He just finds a way to battle, and nothing phases him.
Tomas Perez with a swing and a miss. He's 1 for 2, and he deserves better. He hit that ball 2 innings ago that Pujols leaped and kept out of the right field corner with a big stab. That was important because the next man up, the pitcher Brandon Duckworth, doubled down the left field line.
366 from the right side and 265 left-handed.
Low and away, 1 ball, 1 strike. Cardinals will be heading up to Gene Steckschulde's old stomping grounds tomorrow night when we fly to Cincinnati. Gene is from Lima, Ohio. And a bouncer to Polanco. Should be 2. Vigna. Oh, at first base on a close play. The fastest draw in baseball, Fernando Vigna. And the Cardinals get 2 for the price of 1.
Pitcher's best friend, and ball wasn't hit particularly hard, and looks like Fernando had a little bit of trouble with the exchange, but got it out on the fingertips. Didn't have much on the throw, but Pujols, who has been very good at first base at picking balls out of the dirt, snares another one. You see Tomas digging for first, and can't believe it, but replay indicated that he was out.
Here's Duckworth, the pitcher. Ball 1 low. And the Cardinals have a chance to face only 3 batters in this inning. That could be the first time that's happened tonight. Fernando Vigna continues to play Gold Glove caliber defense. As Al told you last night, he leads National League second baseman in fielding percentage. He's only made 5 errors all year.
So that isn't the #1 criteria.
Right. Reputation has something to do with it.
Yeah, it helps.
And sometimes, unfortunately, your offensive numbers help you win a Gold Glove too.
Yeah, I think that is the case. I remember a couple times Mike Schmidt won it over Ken Reitz, and it obviously had to be the offensive numbers.
Right. And a foul ball right off of the helmet of Marrero. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Gene Steckschulde, a big fella, 6'5", 210. He just turned 28 6 days ago. And a chance for a sort of 1-2-3 inning here in the 6th. Or the top of the 6th. Cardinals in the bottom of the inning. We'll have Paquette, Renteria, and Marrero. And the count goes 3-2.
Duckworth got a base hit, a double, and a sacrifice tonight, but we're pitching him like he's a perennial all-star position player.
We're pitching him like he's Livan Hernandez.
How'd he do?
Did he pitch today?
No, I mean, didn't he pitch last night and he had his hitting streak on the line?
Yeah, we'll have to check that out. 3-2. Cardinal bullpen has been great lately. There's a little drive and a base hit. And Duckworth, a perfect night at the plate with a sacrifice, a double, and now a single.
Maybe they should pitch him like he's a perennial all-star.
The one thing the Cardinals have done tonight is keep Jimmy Rollins off base. He's 0 for 3 after a 4 for 5 night here yesterday with 3 singles, a double, a steal, and an RBI. He did not score a run in that game last night. And tonight he's 0 for 3 with a ground ball and 2 strikeouts against Bud Smith. He sees a right-hander now for the first time. Jimmy Rollins, a switch hitter from the left side this year. He's batting .272. And that's a foul ball.
Bob, last night, Greg Maddux defeated Livan Hernandez. Maddux won his 16th ball game. Hernandez did go 9 innings, a 2-hitter. He allowed 2 runs, 1 of them earned. And John Smoltz picked up his first career save. 2 innings of work behind Maddux, but doesn't say anything about Livan's hitting.
The way the Braves are bringing back John Smoltz, not identical to, but a little bit similar to what the Cardinals did with Matt Morris last year.
Yeah,
letting him build up his strength gradually.
Leo Mazzoni has said that is their model, how the Cardinals used Matt Morris.
So some of you fans who, I know Al hears from him on radio, who like to call in and say, Dave Duncan and Tony La Russa don't know how to handle young players. I had to laugh on your show yesterday when I hear Bob Ramsey naming all the young players playing very well. And there's Albert behind the runner, the pitcher Duckworth. There's no doubt that Duncan and La Russa have had a very good track record. And Tony really bristles when people say things about Dave Duncan. He brings up examples like Dave Stewart. Dave Duncan helped him resurrect his career. Bob Welch, some other pitchers they had in Oakland long before they ever came here.
Well, remember another one. You're talking about some of the veteran guys that we always talk about, but remember Lamar Hoyt won 25 ball games for the '83 White Sox. And Richard Dobson won 22 ball games. Those guys were like in their early 20s. So he has had success with some young pitchers also.
2-2, and that's another foul.
Of course, Tony's gets people talk about he can't manage young players, and sometimes people go, well, they're only rookies of the year. Canseco and McGuire and Walt Weiss, and looks like Albert Pujols this year.
Another 3-2 count for Steckschulte.
Ron Kittle was another rookie of the year that Tony had for the White Sox.
We rest our case. Runner will be going with 2 outs and a 3-2 count, and the pitch is fouled back again.
Don't complain to Rich Gould.
Now Rich will get a little feisty now and then over the airwaves. I really enjoyed his interview earlier with Mike Eisenbath, talking about some of the different perceptions of Tony La Russa in this town. It'll be interesting to pick up the Post in the morning. 3-2 again, and Jimmy Rollins continues to battle.
Ryan Gregorian has been working on that article for a couple, 2-3 weeks. So it's a very extensive article on Tony La Russa.
Vahe Gregorian, outstanding writer.
Be interesting to talk to Vahe and just see how much his perception going into that article changed during the course of the research.
Right. And a 3-2 again, a walk. Second walk of the inning. Boy, the double play is big now, isn't it? And the Phillies have 2 on 2 out for Doug Glanville. Dave Duncan will pay Steckschulte a visit.
It's one thing that Steckschulte can get in trouble with is his control. And yet he's got 2 outs here, and you just make a couple good pitches. Sometimes in his defense, as his ball moves so much that it moves through the strike zone and out of it.
Mike Matthews gets up. The Bommarito Automotive Group leaderboard. We'll talk about some of the clubs from mid-game to late game and how they do when leading after 6. Look at that. The Cardinals 52 games over the 500 mark. And the top 2 in the league right here. The Expos surprisingly right there. So it's very important for the Cardinals to get out of this inning and then score in the bottom of the inning. Not that that's a be-all and end-all, but it certainly is a very interesting trend how many times it's gone in the Cardinals' favor this year. 55 of their 66 wins. Ball one. Glanville tonight 1 for 3 with a single. The big power guy, Scott Rowland, who tied this game last inning, is on deck.
Glanville came into tonight's game in 2001 batting 188. A home run and 1 RBI, 3 for 16 against the Cardinals. Career-wise, he was a .317 hitter, and with his 1 for 3 tonight here at Busch, he's over .370.
And a little looper right side. Vigna slides, bobbles, runner at third, but he will hold. Fernando knew he'd have to be very quick with the hands, and that ball had some wicked English on it. And the bases are loaded now with 2 outs for Scott Rowland. At least Vigna got to the ball and kept that from getting behind him. It appeared to be playable there for a while.
Yeah, it seemed like it, but then you see the divot there, so when he does that, it probably carries him a little bit further and hits it in the heel of the glove, or up on the wrist, and stays in the vicinity. And Vukovic would have been a very tough play.
Yeah, that's
you got
the pitcher running.
You got the pitcher running, and you got your biggest RBI man, one of your proven RBI men for several years, and Scott Rowland at the plate.
Well, look out here. Swing and a miss and a hard breaking ball. And maybe this matchup brings out the best in Steckschulte. Cubs did not score in the top of the first against Randy Johnson. They're underway at Arizona. Jason Barrett pitches tonight for second place Chicago.
Get to Randy, get him early.
They'll appeal it, but it'll be no swing, says Lance Barksdale. Counts even 1-1.
3-3 because of the 125th career home run by Scott Rowland. 17th of the season. That was his last time up in the 5th.
Sidearm. And it just sails on Gene. He tried a different look, and that was nowhere near the strike zone.
Well, that's something he's learned from Darryl Kyle, but he just doesn't have the proficiency to throw that pitch as Kyle does. A lot of times they leave it in a bad area.
And a hopper out to short. Edgar's got it. So does Fernando. And the Cardinals are out of the inning. 2 walks, 2 hits. Phillies don't score. And after 5.5, we're still tied.
Bottom 6 in a 3-3 game. Time now for our Edward Jones quote quiz. Cardinals fans, do you know who said we Americans are a peculiar people? We are for the underdog, no matter how much of a dog he is. Go to www.edwardjones.com/quote-quiz and play the Edward Jones Quote Quiz contest for your chance to win tickets to an upcoming Cardinals game or autographed memorabilia from Stan the Man Inc. Now, we had this one last night. It must be a tough one. I would be happy if you went there and got it. Went there, meaning going to the website. And I have been to Chandler, Arizona. I'm trying to give them a hint. I would be happy if they go there. And I've been to Arizona before. They've got a city there, Chandler, Arizona. It's a wonderful place. Again, the Edward Jones Quote Quiz. We Americans are a peculiar people. We're for the underdog, no matter how much of a dog he is. Who said this, guys?
That may be the longest fill on a promo I've ever heard. Thank you, Rich Gould. He's done WB11 News at 9 sportscasts shorter than that. Here's Craig Paquette, bottom of the 6th. And the Cardinals looking to break back out on top here against the rookie Duckworth.
Hey, Bob, one time when I was playing, I was doing the news on Channel 11. And one of my first early broadcasts, sportscasts, I spent my whole 3 minutes trying to say Martina Navratilova.
Is that when they just started calling her Martina?
Well, this was
because of you.
I mean, it was when she first
Sure.
came onto the international scene. And
here's the 1-1 to Paquette, and it's low and away. It'll be Craig Paquette, Edgar Renteria, Eli Marrero for the Cardinals. Bottom of the 6th. Long ball game. We've been in progress 2 hours and 10 minutes, and it's the bottom of the 6th. Cardinals battled well over 3 hours to beat the Phillies 4-3 last night, and Paquette works to a 3-1 count. No activity in the Phillies bullpen just yet. Duckworth, in his first 2 major league starts, has gone 6 and 7 innings respectively. There's a strike, and the count's full 3-2.
you can see why they like this young man, and right there I'm sure Craig was thinking he's going to get a breaking ball, and he snuck the fastball by.
High heat. Paquette is gone. Strikeout number 4 for Brandon Duckworth. You and your family can be the Southwest Airlines family of the game. Lots of fun, maybe Cardinal tickets and more. By the way, tonight's family of the game just won season tickets for next year. That's an example of what might happen to you. Send your name, address, and phone number to that address on our screen. You and your clan could be the Southwest Airlines family of the game. What fun that could be. Here's Renteria. Edgar 0 for 1 with a walk tonight. And a 10-game hitting streak on the line. And he lays off that breaking ball low and away. Eli Marrero on deck. Then the pitcher spot. We're going to jam him on 1-1. This kid's done a good job of pitching inside tonight, but he misses there, ball 2.
You can see why they do like him. You know,
ball 3. He did nothing but win in the minors. See, a lot of guys get to the major leagues these days with a lot less than 52 minor league wins. Now a 3-1 to Renteria. Outside in the dirt, and he walked in. Edgar's aboard for the second time. Third walk issued by Duckworth. 1 on, 1 out. And the Sancho Automotive family has some trivia for us tonight, as they always do. Great family dealership group here in the St. Louis area. And the Cardinal record for the most RBIs in a season by a pitcher. Swinging the bat. I don't know if I think there's maybe an injury situation here. And there's Dizzy, the record holder, back in 35. There's no activity, Al, in their bullpen.
no, it is. I think what they want is a little manicuring of the mound.
Okay, well, Vern Rule
he
visited with the umpire first.
Right, it's his landing area where he's kind of pawing at, and maybe the fact that Steckschulte is a lot taller and has dug a hole where you saw the landing leg sort of slipped, and then he kind of goes down. You know, you're shorter, so you stride out there, and where you normally were landing, well, that's the beginning of the hole for Steckschulte, and then you fall forward into his landing hole.
Well, and thus Duckworth may have felt a twinge or something somewhere.
Yeah,
so this will not count as an official visit to the mound. Boy, how bad are the Reds going? They just got 5 in the 9th and lost 6-5 after giving up 3 in the top of the inning to Milwaukee. And the Reds, after losing 4 in a row here, have now lost 2 straight to the Brewers in that weekend series. That's a final.
Well, apparently it's something with that landing area, and his ankle kind of slipped and turned over a little bit, but he assured his pitching coach, Vern Rule, that he's fine, and we're going to go do battle. No pitches thrown to Marrero in this at bat.
Eli 1 for 2. He's hit the ball hard twice. Won a double off the left field wall. Got the 3-run 3rd inning going. The other one with Renteria aboard, nobody out in the 4th. A hot shot that Jimmy Rollins turned into a 6-4-3. Bobby Bonilla is in the on-deck circle. Got a big hit here last night. There's a double play ball. Rollins, and the turn by Perez. Cardinals are gone on another 6-4-3, and the 6th inning is over. On to the 7th we go. We'll see if Steckschulte stays in, and the score remains tied 3-3. Tonight's copyrighted telecast, presented by authority of the St. Louis Cardinals, may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of the game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals. Cardinal Baseball, a production of Bud Sports and an exclusive presentation of Fox Sports Net. Dad and little guy having a great time at the ballpark tonight. And we'd like to welcome a beautiful lady from Venezuela who's watching her first Cardinal game in person tonight, Andreina Terrero, visiting from the great baseball country of Venezuela. Mike Matthews will take over for the Cardinals here in the top of the 7th. And our fans are cheering. Is that a 2 on the scoreboard for the Diamondbacks? They're cheering?
Well, they're cheering that, but they're also cheering that Mark McGwire is playing first base. Part of a double switch as Pujols goes to right field. And so Mike Matthews coming in here. His 3rd time he's been in the bullpen. He's making his 25th relief appearance. He has 10 starts. And as a bullpenner in 25, he's allowed 3 runs in 25 and 2/3 innings for a 1.05 ERA. So there's Mark McGwire at first base, and
he'll lead off at the bottom of this inning.
He'll be a leadoff hitter. That's right. Pujols goes to right.
And Paquette out of the game as the Cardinal pitcher bats in the number 6 spot. Mike Matthews is that Cardinal pitcher. And we get a nice note up here. We'd like to salute just a wonderful Cardinal fan, a lady 85 years young, watching us tonight over in Cesar, Illinois. And the first pitch to Bobby Abreu is a fly ball, left field line, slicing, out of play. Marjorie Dame, 85 years young. Actually, she had been watching us. She's at the ballpark tonight for the very first time. Made the drive over with some friends from Cesar, Illinois, and seeing her first ever Cardinal game in person. Isn't that cool?
Well, how's she going to know we talked about it?
Her friends will tell her.
Okay.
45,437. Top of the 7th inning, Mike Matthews against Bobby Abreu, Pat Burrell, although Andy Benes is up again, and Felipe Crespo. This could be a 1-batter appearance for Matthews. And a breaking ball. That's a high strike, 0-2. Bobby Abreu tonight 2 for 3 with a pair of singles, an RBI, and a run scored. He's batting .298. He's a .313 career batter in the big leagues. Was with the Astros for a couple of years. He had 25 homers and drove in 79 for the Phillies last year after a 20-homer, 93 RBI season in the year of '99.
I wonder if Doug Stanton's foreign exchange student knows she's supposed to be rooting for the Cardinals now, not Bobby Abreu, her fellow countryman.
If she wants a place to rest her head tonight, she does. And a breaking ball outside, 2 balls, 2 strikes.
And her name is again?
Andreina Terrero. There's Bobby from Aragua, Venezuela. Two balls, 2 strikes. Mike Matthews, Pennsylvania kid, strikes out the young man from Venezuela. And the 7th inning is off to a good start. And here comes Tony La Russa.
Well,
he wants Andy Benes.
Yeah, see, this is what I saw early in his career. That flailing attempt at the breaking ball from a left-hander, but he has proven he can hit left-handers breaking balls, but that was very good location from Mike Matthews. Has to get one guy. He does so in fine fashion with the strikeout and turn it over to Andy Benes.
Cardinals will employ their 4th pitcher of the night. Andy's coming in. Tie game, top 7. If you've always dreamed of watching Al Roboski do a broadcast, here's a chance for you to fulfill that lifelong ambition. It's the AutoZone Sweet Deal Sweepstakes. Stop by a St. Louis area AutoZone store and enter to win 4 tickets to the best seat in the house, the broadcast suite at Busch Stadium. And of course, if you're one of the Cardinal owners, Dave Pratt, you can just walk right in. David is here with us with Jeff and his friend Allison, watching the Cardinals, and Andy Bennis take over here in the top of the 7th.
This is Andy's 12th career relief appearance, his 5th this year. But if you think about the last 2, one in against Cincinnati, most recently on Monday, where he picked up the 150th victory, 1 batter, 1 strikeout, and in Montreal, 1 batter, Vladimir Guerrero, a strikeout. So now it's Pat Burrell.
Pat Burrell 0 for 2 with a walk tonight. Hit a long home run here last night. This kid's got power to spare. And the 1-0 is a high pop-up, playable. Fernando is out there. Pujols to help if needed. Not needed. 2 down. And Andy's starting to have a propensity for coming out of that bullpen and getting his first man.
Well, he just wants to get out of that bullpen, so stay out of detention. But you know what, Andy, if you think about it, because of the knee, you know, he's usually in his starts, he would get off to a good start. And then about 3rd or 4th inning, 5th inning, his knee would start wearing down. He'd get the ball up a little bit. So maybe this is the best role for him for a while.
And a good role for Travis Lee here. He will bat for Felipe Crespo. Steve Klein, look at that hat. That is one bad looking dome right there. There's a pitch low and away, 2 balls, no strikes.
You touching it is lethal. Putting it to your mouth is definitely.
He's going to put it on here in a minute.
There's many biologists that want to work on that hat.
There are things from that hat you will never find in a petri dish. This is 3 balls, no strikes.
He could survive a winter.
He is going to kill us when he hears about this.
But his wife's laughing.
At the knees. An unnamed member of our Cardinal party in Montreal last week asked me, what do you think his childhood was like? And I said, why are you speaking in the past tense? Steve Klein is unbelievable. 3-1 pitch, and it's a little bit low. Andy walks Travis Lee. He's aboard with 2 outs here in the 7th. Yeah, we don't want to get away from the task at hand here, and that's winning this ball game. But during the long baseball season, Steve Klein gives us a lot of laughs and a lot of great baseball as well.
Yeah,
I mean, his act's not funny unless he's pitching well, and he's pitching very well.
I was going to say, we can kid with him and have fun because of his personality and because of how effective he's been.
Sure.
Longest scoreless streak of any Cardinal pitcher this year.
Here's Todd Pratt. Andy throws a breaking ball that just misses low and away. Todd's had another good night. He's had 2 hits and 2 walks in this series. And with the Phillies playing without their all-star catcher Mike Lieberthal for the season because of injury, Todd Pratt coming over from the Mets to help out. Low 2-0.
And he's got to be hitting right around 400 wearing the Philly uniform. And Andy right now has got to find that strike zone one more time.
Polanco guards the line at 3rd. McGuire holds the runner at 1st. And it's low and inside, ball 3. That was close. Now Steve Klein is up and getting ready to go to work. He's going to get that game face on in a hurry. Rio pitch. Right down the middle. Andy has a birthday coming up in 2 days. He will be 34 on the 20th of August. Cardinals will be in Cincinnati on Andy's birthday. 3-1 pitch. Breaking ball had him locked up, and the count goes full.
Well, Jack Buck and Charles Jaco have birthdays on the 21st, Tuesday.
Jack Buck, a legend. Charles Jaco, a great journalist who's come from being a foreign correspondent to a wonderful position at KMOX. Enjoy his newsmakers every day. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Travis Lee will be running. The pitch. Low. And 2 2-out walks. And coming in, Tomas Perez.
Perez is a switch hitter, and he's a better hitter from the right side. So Dave Duncan will run out here and try to get Andy back in the strike zone. You know, as funny as this may sound, but the way Andy has been used for close to 3 weeks or so, you know, or maybe even close to a month, you know, you're only facing 1 batter per appearance. You know, it's a little different when you're facing 4 now.
Yeah, about to face his 5th. Cardinals have not had an inning tonight where their pitcher has faced 3 batters. The shortest one, the 4th and the 5th, when they face 4. It has been a tough night for the Cardinals staff, but they've battled the entire time. They've never given the Phillies more than 1 run in any inning. So they have done a good job of keeping close, and in this case trying to keep it tied. 2 on, 2 out. Tomas Perez 1 for 3 with a base hit. There goes the bat right in front of Jose Oquendo near the Cardinal dugout. Retrieved by Mark O'Neill, our assistant trainer. There's Mark, the Arkansas boy.
Yeah, Mark is really the rehab trainer. So he gets a chance to go with the ball club when nobody is on the disabled list or needing that rehabbing. If somebody gets hurt and has to stay behind like Timlin was, then Mark's got back here doing all that duty behind the scenes.
And great duty it is. It's not easy. Andy ahead in the count. That'll even things up.
Marlon Anderson, a left-hander swinger, is on the on-deck circle. You also have Jordan and Hunter from the right side. Estrada, young catcher, a switch hitter.
1-1 pitch. Cubs did not score in the top of the 2nd at Arizona. They trail Randy Johnson, who might already have enough runs. 2-0. Now they post the Diamondbacks not scoring in the bottom of that inning either. So they're top 3 at the Bank One ballpark. 2 balls and 1 strike. Andy Benes to Tomas Perez.
So Cliff Pleat is throwing in the Philadelphia bullpen again.
It'd be nice to get out of this inning, get some momentum, have the crowd come alive with McGuire leading off. The 2-1 pitch. Andy changing speeds there. And Marlon Anderson, who's one of the Phillies' hottest hitters in the on-deck circle, despite not starting the game tonight. 3-1 the count. Outside, bases loaded. 3 consecutive walks.
So as a pinch hitter is announced, and now he's officially announced, there'll be more than likely a pitching change.
And here comes Tony La Russa. A third of an inning for Andy. 3 walks. He retired the first man he got, and now it'll be a very early appearance for Steve Klein here in the 7th inning, but a very necessary appearance. And I hope the fans are kind to Andy as he walks off. Some won't be. Some will understand that this is a very difficult transition for him. And for the most part, not that many boos, and that's good. And here comes Mr. Klein. 3-3 the score. Bases loaded, 2 outs. Top of the 7th. Look at the number of games Steve Klein has pitched in. The Cardinals tonight play their 122nd game of the year. And Steve Klein in his 71st. 4 more than Graham Lloyd of Montreal.
As tops of the National League, and he's been very, very good. He has thrown 20 2/3 scoreless innings. That covers his last 23 games, dating back to July the 3rd at Montreal. He's held left-handed batters to a 111 average, 9 for 81 with no home runs. And since the All-Star break, he has 1 win and 5 saves.
And if our fans are wondering who the busiest pitchers in the American League are, 60 games going into today for Toronto's Paul Quantrill and the Yankees' Mike Stanton. So Andy Bennis in that dugout hoping this remains a scoreless 7th inning. He leaves the bases loaded. As we mentioned a moment ago, if you get out of this inning, then the crowd will go wild with the 7th inning stretch and Mark McGwire leading off in the bottom. It's a lefty-lefty matchup with Marlon Anderson, who's enjoying a 7-game hitting streak right now. Sacks are juiced. McGwire behind the runner at first. 2 outs. First pitch. It's a strike.
Well, that's helpful. Come in there, you're firing. Get that umpire back into strike territory and calling them.
Yeah, sometimes the guy coming in has to make the umpire forget about the guy
right
who just left and what he did or didn't do. Breaking ball missing away. Count even 1-1.
Klein had yesterday off. He had what, Monday and Tuesday off. He needed those, and
the 1-1. Slipped it by him with a nasty breaking ball. I'm telling you, if Steve Klein can get Marlon Anderson here, this crowd will really get into it.
Well,
leaving the bases loaded, 7th inning stretch. McGwire coming up, Al. We could have a huge momentum turn right here.
Get the starter out of the game. You go into the bullpen. A lot of positive things and a definite momentum shifter, but it all depends on Steve retiring Anderson.
The crowd wants it. Now Marrero out to talk to his pitcher.
I have to think that what we didn't see when they're putting down signs, that there was a little bit of confusion, or Marrero put down several signs and that was the right thing to do. You want to have them both be on the same page and be very positive with this 1-2 pitch.
One and two the count. Got him! Got him! On the swinging strike. And the bases are left loaded. Phillies have stranded 12 runners tonight. 6 in the last 2 innings. Look out, folks. Big Mac is coming up. Well, Steve Klein comes up huge with the strikeout. An old friend of ours comes in to pitch for the Phillies. More on him in a moment. But first of all, how about Big Mac? He will lead off in the bottom of the 7th. Sunday, September 16th, bobblehead day. Astros here. It's first 20,000 fans, 15 and under with a paid admission, take home the bobblehead. And then Tuesday night, first 20,000 fans, 16 and over, and the Cardinals play the Brewers. It's all courtesy of Sports Service and Ice Mountain. Call the Cardinal Charge line Monday, 421-2400 for your tickets. And it'll be Big Mac for the Cardinals against former Cardinal and St. Louis kid out of Vianney High School, Cliff Polite.
Cliff has had some physical problems since he's left here. He's even on the disabled list earlier this year with a stress reaction to his right arm, or in his right arm. But he has been really throwing the ball well. You see the 1.23 ERA. He's appearing in his ninth ball game. He's not getting a lot of work, but they say he's throwing hard. And here's Mark McGwire.
Mark's first appearance of this series. Tie game, bottom of the 7th.
Interesting. Left-handed batters are batting 143 off a Cliff, and right-handers 333.
Flash bulbs are popping. Cliff Polite off the stretch. And McGwire fouls it high in the air off to the right side. Phillies employ the infield shift against McGwire, with the left side of Roland, Rollins, and Perez all over on that side.
Mark's been driving more balls to right field, trying to stay on some pitches, but they're trying to work him in.
Jam job coming here.
Right down the middle.
Yeah, he's probably expecting that ball to be inside. And Cliff Polite actually missed Todd Pratt's spot and threw it over the outer half of the plate.
A ball 93 miles an hour. That's a lot harder than what we remember Cliff.
Yep.
He came up earlier with the Cardinals in his career.
In 98. And McGwire strikes out swinging. Well, Mark might get another AB in this game.
Must be lightning.
A lot of lightning bugs in the ballpark tonight. Either that or shutter bugs with their cameras. And here's Fernando Vina with 1 out, bottom of the 7th, a tie game. Cubs did not score in the 3rd against Randy Johnson. They still trailed 2-0. Houston won today 3-0, in case you didn't catch it early. Fernando's had a good night, and that ball drills him right at his feet.
Well, sometimes when you can take a glancing blow, and there's other times when you get hit with the brunt of the pitch around the ankle region where that is not good. He's on his feet. This guy is tough as can be, and of course our Cardinal magazine features the big little man. Right here.
Yeah, Cardinal Game Day magazine right on the inside of that left ankle.
Yeah, that's right on the bone. There's no meat there. And of course, you know, Fernando is one of the best in the game of being hit, but usually a glancing blow, and that one was right square on the ankle bone. But
Brad Henderson thinks he's okay. We've got operators standing by. Call us at 314-982-7336, and you, if you call now, can order the Colorful Cardinal yearbook at a special reduced rate. So give us a call, 314-982-7336. Find out all about Fernando Vina. And the great thing about Cardinal Game Day magazine, you learn a lot about Cardinal history when you read it month to month. They always go back and delve into the great tradition of this ball club, some of the old-time things, and it's a lot of fun. Best publication of any ball club in the major leagues, Cardinal Game Day magazine. Steve Zesh and the guys do a wonderful job with it. 1 on, 1 out. Maybe Fernando's fooling all of us and he's going to steal a base, but Al, I think this is for real. Yeah, he is hurting for certain over there.
Yeah, I agree with you, and just pushing off, trying to get back to the bag on the pickoff attempt. You stay there an extra moment or two.
Polanco, the batter, breaking ball for a strike.
Just watch the way he tried to take his secondary lead, and he had to hop instead of pushing off. He hopped to get the pressure off the ankle, so he is pretty sore right now.
Travis Lee stayed in the game to play first base. He holds that little guy. Another dangerous little guy in the batter's box, and another one on deck. These guys tonight have been on base 6 times, plus there's been a sacrifice bunt.
I asked Cliff if his father was, if he was at the game last night. He said, no, he gave me some kind of story about, well, I'd rather watch it on TV. You know, I could see it better. And he goes, I have a sneaky suspicion he went to the Rams game.
Cliff's a great kid. Ball 1 up and in. I remember his first start for the Cardinals. Mark Lamping, the Cardinal team president, also a Vianney High School alum. Had a bunch of the guys, it's an all-boys school, had a bunch of them up in the upper deck on the third base side that day.
School was dismissed.
Yeah, they canceled school that day.
Yeah.
1 ball, 1 strike. 1 on, 1 out. Time given.
Now Kendo walking down a little bit, see if he wants to flash some new set of signs to Polanco. 1-1 pitch. You know, Cliff Polite Sr. was a baseball player. He actually reached the major leagues in one of those tragic situations where got to the big leagues, never appeared in a game, hurt his arm afterwards, and never made it back to the major leagues. You know, in the offseason, I guess.
Well, evidently Cliff and the Phillies think Vigna's a running threat here. Lots of room on the right side over there. And Polanco trying to shoot it through that side, pops it out of play. Placido tonight, 2 hits in 3 at bats. He's now batting .323. Philly bullpen busy again.
And thanks to Cliff Polite Sr., I don't ever have to pick up any leaves in my gutters anymore.
Oh, yeah? You get a lot of them out there where you live.
Not anymore.
Is this about to be a free ad for a leaf pickup company?
No, no, no. You know, the caps on the gutters.
Oh, those.
Yeah.
2 balls and 2 strikes to Polanco. 1 on, 1 out, bottom 7. The Cardinals tied with the Phillies 3-3. 4-3 Cardinal win last night. And some late inning drama heading our way this evening.
Dennis Cook in the Phillies pen. Now to throw to first.
Vigna back way early.
Well, he's exercising that ankle. I always say, you know, sometimes it's better to keep it moving.
2-2. There's Polanco trying for a little hit, and it was just outside the bag. We're approaching the 10 o'clock hour here at beautiful Busch Stadium. You're watching Cardinal baseball on KPLR TV St. Louis, WB11, your flagship station for the Cardinal Baseball Network. Bob Carpenter, Al Roboski, Rich Gould, our Bud Sports crew, working long and hard to try to make it 10 in a row tonight. 2-2 the count.
I was going to say, you are right. Rich working this long. See, is he still with us?
He's around here somewhere.
He
we'll find him.
He could be at the station, though, preparing for
we'll
this.
Find him. Helping out
victory.
Dan Issa tonight.
Oh, Dan, huh?
The 2-2 coming, finally. And a fly ball to center. Fairly well hit. Granville misjudged it. Oh, my! Vigna heading for third. Oquendo holds him. Second and third, 1 out. Polanco might have surprised Doug Glanville with a little power display right there.
I think you are absolutely accurate in that description. Glanville, a very good outfielder, but he misjudged this ball. This ball was hit harder. He kind of hesitated at first, and then he tried to get on his horse, get back there. He catches it on 1 hop, but a little slow to react initially, and it gets over his head for the double. Boy, it's a shame Vigna was hit on the ankle, because that probably made an easy job for Oquendo and hold him at third, but without that injury, he probably would have been halfway around third and on his way home.
Larry Boa, slow walk to the mound.
Yeah, remember, they have Dennis Cook, the left-hander, warming up in the bullpen, and they're going to make a move to him now.
Tough break for Cliff Polite, who struck out McGuire, hit Vigna on the first pitch, and then when he should have had the second out of an inning, gives up a double to Polanco. So the little guys all over the bases again tonight. Vigna on 3 times, Polanco 3 times, Robinson once with a sacrifice, and maybe Kerry Robinson puts the Cardinals in a position to win when we come back from this break. The rookie left-handed batter, a veteran left-handed pitcher. Fascinating matchup coming up next. Dennis Cook appeared in the ballgame last night, pitched nearly 2 innings, kept the Cardinals scoreless despite a couple of hits. And as usual, Placido Polanco, Fernando Vina, and Kerry Robinson right in the middle of things, though the Cardinals will be pinch hitting for Robinson with Cairo after Al sets up Dennis Cook for you.
Well, Dennis Cook's appearing for the 47th time, 4th time as a Philly. He came over with Turk Wendell in the Bruce Chin trade. Been very good against the Cardinals in his career. He's been a long time. I mentioned last night that he was on the disabled list for personal reasons. His wife had a miscarriage, and I had a chance to offer my condolences to him today. And he said the odd thing was in '98 his wife gave birth to triplets with absolutely no complications, but a miscarriage this time, and she was having a hard time, and so he left the ball club, returned on the 14th, and pitched a couple times since then. Miguel Cairo very good against left-handed pitchers, and that's what he's asked to do right here.
They had a big hit here last night. Almost led to a Cardinal run, and a swing and a miss on a breaking ball. I asked him about the base running play last night. He said, hey, I thought I was on the bag, and I told him our replays backed him up. Those things happen. Cardinals found a way to win. Now they look for another way here tonight.
Cairo.
Second and third, 1 out.
Cairo has a .364 average against left-handed pitching.
Strike 2. Diamondbacks just scored again against the Cubs, and after 3 in Arizona, the D-backs lead Chicago 3-0.
There's Todd Pratt. Cook called Pratt out. Now they are very familiar with each other from the Mets. They were all playing there the last couple of years. So now he got ahead 0-2. He's going to try and make sure he and his catcher are on the same page as to what they want to do. Got a very good breaking ball.
Infield in, outfield around to the right, big gap in left center. And the 0-2 pitch. The target is outside. And the pitch is flared that way by Cairo. And a nice play by a fan down there in the first row of the loge boxes. Great crowd tonight. 45,437 at the ballpark.
Seeing a good game, aren't they?
They are, Al, and that'll put the Cardinals over 2.5 million for the season now. Cardinals have sold over 3 million tickets for the year. And there's going to be a lot of excitement around here in September. The 0-2 again to Cairo. They're going to jam him now. They want to go up with it, and it's high and tight, ball 1.
After the foul ball, Dennis Cook saying watch the second baseman, or maybe even be careful and make sure Polanco's not relaying any signs.
1-2.
Location.
Well hit. Look out, Jose. And Oquendo with some fancy footwork to get out of the way of that one.
Well, last night he was showing everybody his good hands by fielding the ball, and here with those runners on, you aren't really squared up, so he's showing his footwork. You know, he can dance. I've seen him dance in Puerto Rico. He's pretty nifty.
Well, we had our Caribbean barbecue a couple of years ago. He was the star of the dance floor that night. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Bottom of the 7th. 3-3 game. We're 3 minutes shy of 3 hours. So we've got enough threes going on. A 4 or a 5 would be nice right here. The 1-2 pitch. Inside target again. Cairo jacks one. Left field line. May stay fair. And it does! Home run! 6-3 Cardinals.
St. Louis and the ball club now. A double last night, and now a 3-run home run to give the Cardinals a 6-3 lead. And boy, is it 45,000 people are still on their feet. There he is. We knew that he had some extra base power. Would it stay fair? Sinking right underneath the Konica sign, and this could be the KO mark for the Phillies. And a curtain call. How about that?
6-3 Cardinals. Now a smile from Miguel.
Now you feel like you belong on this ball club.
But isn't that what it's all about, Al? You go out and get a player. He wins a ball game for you. Not that this one's over yet, but this is the kind of thing that happens when you win a championship.
Yeah, it's everybody contributes. From your biggest star to your 25th man, and everybody in between has a chance to star.
The Cardinals have hit 6 pinch hit homers this year.
You don't think
Paquette has 2 of them.
I don't think Walt Jocketty has got a big smile on his face right now, do you?
No balls and 2 strikes. And Pujols waits and fouls one back. So the ex-Cub factor, which some people like to talk about now and then as being a negative for a ball club, turns into a big positive for the Cardinals here as Cairo picked up on waivers. There's Walt.
There's Walt. You know, at one time
he knows we're talking about him now.
Yeah, at one time, if any team had 3 or more former Cub players, there was a rule that you could not win.
Right.
You just throw it out. You have no chance to win, but we've seen them throw a lot of good players away.
0-2 and Pujols fouls one away. Hey folks, get your remote ready, because when this at-bat is over by Pujols, we're going to give you sounds of the game, and you may want to just take that volume and tweak it up a little bit and enjoy a Cardinal moment here at the ballpark. Redbirds, one of the best in baseball, win up after 6 and 7. 0-2 to Albert. It's inside.
You saw who was on top of that list. The
Montreal,
Phillies.
or yeah,
No, the
Phillies. And the
then
Phillies
Montreal.
were second to the Cardinals after 6 innings.
How about the pitching staff that Cook was on at University of Texas? Swindell and Bruce Ruffin were on that staff.
Albert Pujols with a base hit on a hanging changeup. All right, folks, some sounds of the game for you. You can enjoy this one without us. Cairo getting some slaps and some high fives, and George Kissel in there just trying to survive. 1 on, 1 out. Still only 1 out of the inning, and Edmonds the batter now.
Is this going to be the night we see Steve Klein hit?
He's in the on. Is that him in the on-deck circle?
Yep.
Yep. He's got the pine tar
on his
on
helmet.
top of his helmet now.
Trying to dirty it up.
Get your spot due next. Edmonds takes ball 1. That's the smile of a guy feeling great right now. He came off the bench. Tony put him in a position to succeed. Miguel Cairo with a home run down the line, drives in 3, and the Cardinals lead 6-3 here in the 7th. And a chance to be only a game and a half behind the Cubs by the end of the night. They trail 3-0. They did not score in the 4th against Randy Johnson. One 1-0 to Edmonds. In there from Dennis Cook.
Of course, Miguel Cairo better hope be the biggest Cardinal rooter, because after his former teammates, the Cubs, see what he did tonight to them and for the Cardinals, his playoff share just went 0.
If there is one. 1 ball, 1 strike. Well, maybe he'll get a playoff share here. Edmonds, high drive,
Left center. It'll stay in the park, and it's caught by Glanville. 375 feet away. Edmonds has great power out there, but he got under it just a little.
And it sounded real good, and I think he thought he had enough of it. But right off the end of the bat, and I don't think he was totally convinced. But you can tell he's starting to swing the bat a little bit better. Right now in this game, to this point, we haven't needed his contribution, but he's been giving it quite a bit. And look at this.
Steve Klein's career batting average. Where is it?
It's on the screen right
He's
there.
never had one?
Of course not.
Or just never. Oh my gosh! Are you kidding me?
And look at that trot. I thought it was Babe Ruth trotting down to first.
What else can go right this week? I guess a sweep tomorrow, and Klein acting like he does this all the time.
He was lying the base hit out there and hit it with authority. I was kind of getting on him today just watching him hit in the cage. Yeah, his first career hit. Don't ask for the ball, Steve.
You say you don't ask for your first career hit after you've been in the league for 6 years. What a rough outing for Dennis Cook, who retires only one man, and that was to the base of the wall, basically. 3 hits, including a homer, and the Cardinals take care of one of the better situational left-handers in the National League right here.
Santiago coming in. Looks like it.
Jose Santiago, who pitched a third of an inning here last night, and the Cardinals are showing some great momentum signs here. Remember what we said about the top of the 7th? If Klein could get the Cardinals out of the inning, then the fans would have the 7th inning stretch, always a good time at the ballpark. McGuire leading off. Well, Big Mac struck out, but then Vina hit by a pitch, Polanco a lucky double, Cairo a pinch homer, and the Cardinals lead 6-3 in the 7th with more to come. What a night. We've been playing for 3 hours and 7 minutes, and we've got a couple of innings to go. Cardinals lead 6-3, and here's Renteria with a chance to extend that hitting streak. A little tapper foul outside third.
Santiago, who started the season with Kansas City, appearing for the 35th time, 2-2 record, 3.71 ERA, 43 and 2/3 innings, 47 hits, 3 home runs, 8 walks, 22 strikeouts. And back in 1994, he was the 1,627th player selected in the free agent draft. And he was the long shot that made it out of Puerto Rico.
70th round. Isn't that something?
I don't know if it's the same year, but you know, Ron Schuler had a daughter that was a softball player, and one year the White Sox drafted her. She would have been drafted ahead of this guy if it was in '94.
How about that? 1 ball, 1 strike to Edgar, 8th Cardinal to bat in the inning. And by the way, our buddy Cliff Polite, who was a hard luck 2-run pitcher earlier, he was drafted originally by the Cardinals in the 54th round. 1-1 to Edgar. That's a swing and a foul. Got Todd Pratt.
He'll reach down, grab a little dirt, squeeze it a little harder. And a foul ball.
Wow, right in the middle of the protector. That'll take your breath away. And then Mark Wegner walks around to give Todd Pratt a little time to catch his breath.
No, that'll teach you to have a nipple ring.
Todd Pratt has one?
Yep. He said he was hitting 340, got sent to the minor leagues, and that's what makes you do those things, folks.
I don't even want to think what that would feel like.
I asked him, I said, now that had to hurt, and he goes, yep. I said, enough said. And then I told him the Tony Perez story.
Moving right along, 2 balls, 2 strikes in the bottom of the 7th. That's ball 3.
But Al, you know, you've been on this job for what, 15, 16 years now. You're still digging for those stories. I like that.
No.
You're still a Cub reporter down there in the clubhouse finding out all this inside information.
Well, I noticed it in the clubhouse, and then I was talking to John Vukovic, and he goes, "You have a what?" So see, I really knew what I was doing.
3-2 to Renteria. Runners go. Ground ball to short. Bobbled by Rollins. Everybody is safe. And Jimmy Rollins will commit his 11th error of the year.
And don't you ever call me a Cub again. Jimmy Rollins, we talked about only 10 errors on the season. And he did get screened a little bit by Pujols going by, but that was a play that he normally makes, and yet he doesn't come up with it. That also is part of the byproducts of that 3-run home run. Remember, the Phillies are in a pennant race, and they're going to have to learn that they can't hang their head when things start going against them.
Well, these infielders and outfielders, they've been out there for probably 20 minutes in this half inning. Here's Marrero. And Eli trying to apply a knockout punch here. Fouls it away. By the way, Mark McGwire's on deck. Didn't he bat about a half hour ago?
Yes, it was, but wouldn't that be something? He struck out the first time to start this inning, but maybe second chance. You said he's going to probably have a shot for a second at bat.
Yeah, I meant in the ninth inning. 1 ball, 1 strike. By the way, our guys in the truck, they have the time code working again tonight. And this is officially a 30-minute bottom of the 7th. Bases loaded, 2 outs, 3 runs in. Cardinals lead 6-3.
Have they got all their camera angles down?
You know they do. Eli goes reaching and fouls it. But if it's close, he'll be hacking. That's the kind of aggressive batter that Eli Marrero is. Great speed at second, by the way, right here. Renteria behind Steve Klein, the runner at second base. And Albert Pujols at third. Big gap in right center. Outside target. Eli pulls that breaking ball foul. The Diamondbacks did not score in the bottom of the 4th. Cubbies batting against Randy Johnson, trailing 3-0. And if things hold up, Houston tonight would be a game up on the Cubs. The Cardinals would stay 2.5 out, but they'd only be a game and a half behind Chicago. Cubbies will host the Cardinals for 3 at Wrigley next weekend. After the Cards go to Cincinnati for 4. The 1-2 to Eli. Stays alive. Dennis Cook, who gave up the 3-run homer to Cairo, responsible for 2 of the men on base. A 1-2 to Marrero. Strikes out on a pitch 1.5 feet outside. Cardinals send up 9 men to the plate and score 3 times. Miguel Cairo, a 343-foot homer. A beauty. We're right back tomorrow. Miguel Cairo, by the way, is in left field here in the 8th inning. Al, Rich, and I will be here for you at 1 o'clock tomorrow. And the Cards may be going for a sweep. And who better to have out there than Matt Morris? Matt Morris, 15-7 against rookie David Coggin, who is 4-1. So Steve Klein back to the hill. Cardinals on top by 3 as we go top 8. So the Cardinals now with an outfield of Cairo, Edmonds, and Pujols left to right. Top of the order for the Phillies, Jimmy Rollins, Doug Glanville, and Scott Rowland.
Remember the last time these two met.
Rollins hit a homer off Steve Klein in Philadelphia. Steve felt the rookie showed him up by flipping his bat and basically razzed him all the way around the bases. And then, Al, as you said later, Steve, I guess, saw a tape of it and sort of reconsidered.
Yeah, and that was on May the 18th. That was the Cardinals' downfall.
3 months ago to the day.
All right. I see Steve Klein and Ed, that breaking ball, so good. He gets a strikeout. That was a real momentum shifter. And here's his first major league hit, but in between was a 3-run home run by Miguel Cairo to give the Cardinals a 6-3 lead.
Jimmy Rollins 0 for 3 with a walk tonight.
That home run, by the way, is the only home run that Steve Klein has allowed this year. And it was you could cut it up into 2 or 3. This little guy hit it in the upper deck.
Yeah, that was a bomb. (6-3) Cardinals, top of the 8th.
Bob, it bears mention again, without the phenomenal year that Albert Pujols is having, you'd probably be looking at the Rookie of the Year in the National League and Jimmy Rollins.
Right. Bouncer Polanco has to wait. Plenty of time. On target. 1 out. Now the countdown is on, as the Cardinals have only 5 outs to get for their 10th consecutive win.
And the first time since 1941 that a Cardinal team has had 2 winning streaks of at least 10 games.
Yep. Yeah, and then tomorrow they'd have a chance to tie the record from that year, as the second streak was 11. Here's Glanville, 2 for 4. Klein throws a fastball at the knees. Couple of finals. Colorado at home beat Florida 8-3 tonight. Milwaukee at Cincinnati, a 6-5 winner. Dodgers and the Mets are underway. And it's 3-1 LA out at Chavez Ravine after 4 innings. Montreal's at San Diego, 1-0 Expos after 5. Cubs are batting in the top of the 5th at Arizona, trailing 3-0. The 1-1 pitch. Well hit, right center. Edmonds getting there, rolling, holds on, 2 outs.
That was not an easy play, as that sinking line drive and to the backhand of Edmonds. And remember, he has such a tentative shoulder, right shoulder, that every time he dives, he wants to dive for it, but it's like, you know, can I do it without hurting? He's kind of developing a way to kind of drop that left elbow and the hand down to kind of brace himself, take the brunt of the somersaults, and hold on to the ball. Another excellent play.
Yeah, I don't think the Cardinals are going to have to hire a tumbling coach for their center fielder.
Not at all.
He's figured it all out by himself. Gold glove caliber defense again by Jim Edmonds. Scott Rowland has a homer in 4 trips tonight. Klein ahead of him. And Steve Klein looking for a quick 1-2-3 8th inning. The Cardinals haven't had a 1-2-3 pitching inning tonight. Boy, don't you love the way he just goes after people? He'll nibble a little bit when it's 0-2, but he still puts it close enough to give the hitter something to look at.
Last one was 92 miles an hour.
Same spot, ball 2.
Throws so many, you know, sliders that, you know, you wonder when he reaches back for a fastball, what's there.
2 outs, bases empty. Top of the 8th.
Three consecutive fastballs, and Rowland still couldn't get around one.
Minnesota finally won a game tonight, beating Tampa Bay 6-1. The 2-2 pitch. There's a 1-2-3 inning. Rowland to his knees. Klein to the dugout. He's retired 4 in a row. And we go to the bottom of the 8th. McGuire leads off. 6-3 Cardinals. Bottom of the 8th. Time to check out that scorecard and see how the Cardinals can get some more offense here in the bottom of the 8th. Big Mac will lead off again after the Redbirds sent 9 men to the plate in that 7th inning. Big Mac struck out on 3 pitches by Cliff Polite. He faces Jose Santiago, who is still in there. And the Cardinals about to knock the Phillies out of first place, at least a first place tie in the National League East. Braves won their game today, beating the Giants 3-1. And the first one to Mack. Breaking ball in there. I don't think anybody ever throws a bad pitch to Mark McGwire anymore, do they?
Mark shaking his head, but
I mean, he is seeing the best of the best every time up. There's a ball. Lori B.
Well, that's part of it. You know, when you're a pitcher, you're trying to manufacture a one-on-one battle with a hitter. Well, you don't have to manufacture anything with Mark McGwire. You know, it's right there, the drama.
Mack gets jammed and fouls it straight back. And the count 2-2 to the Cardinal leadoff batter, bottom of the 8th. Infield shift on again. Inside target. And Mark bites it off.
You know, Bob, it's just people are taking advantage of Mark and pitching him the way they should pitch him. You know, it's in '98, everyone pitched to his strengths.
High fly ball. Right side, Travis Lee is there.
Second baseman, Fernando Vina.
And Fernando Vina, who got hit last inning, and that started the Cardinals on a 3-run rally. And that could be the decisive frame of this game. Cubs have been batting for a while in the top of the 5th out there in Arizona.
I wouldn't necessarily read too much into that.
Well, maybe they fouled a bunch of pitches off against Randy Johnson.
Because
they just now post a 0.
That's what I'm saying. Maybe they're working on other games. Maybe it was the break for the crew out there, the manually operated scoreboard.
Vina takes a strike, and the count's even 1-1. Top of the 9th, the Phillies will have Abreu, Burrell, and Lee. It will be anything but a routine inning, and it looks like it'll be Steve Klein's. No activity in the Cardinal pen. And Fernando skips back from ball 2. He's 2 for 3 tonight. A single, an RBI, 2 runs scored, and he's batting .308. There's a ball to the right side. Nice play by Tomas Perez for the second out.
Third baseman,
Polanco will be next.
How about Polanco? Another multi-hit game, another 3-hit game. Polanco has 38 multi-hit games and a team leading 15 3-hit affairs.
Well, 3 hours and 36 minutes ago, we told you about the little guys. And they have seen their name on the marquee and lived up to the advanced billing tonight.
Absolutely. Vina was 2 for 4 and hit by a pitch. 2 runs scored. Polanco 3 for 4. A run scored. Robinson, while he was in there, was 1 for 3, and then Cairo hitting in his spot hit the home run. 3-run home run.
Cardinals out hitting the Phillies 11-10 tonight. With 4 of those hits in the 7th. They bunched 4 together for 3 runs in the 3rd. And this is something the Cardinals weren't doing for a couple of months, bunching hits together. So tonight they score in only 2 innings. But 8 hits in those 2 innings could mean the ball game. And a 2-2 to Polanco now. And a fly ball out to right center. Glanville is there for this one. And the Cards go 1-2-3 in the bottom of the 8th. Stage is set. 10 in a row. 3 outs away. And the Redbirds getting ready. Steve Klein back to work. Steve Klein in his 3rd inning of work. He's gone an inning and 2/3, or rather an inning and 1/3 so far, retiring all 4 men he's faced. He is the pitcher of record here. Cliff Polite would be the loser, and a tough luck loser at that. And the Cardinals lead 6-3 into the top of the 9th. Ball 1 to Bobby Abreu. So a lefty-righty-lefty situation, Al, and why not leave Klein in there?
Well, he had thrown a lot of pitches, and you still have a lot of respect. This is one of the better hitters in the league. And 3rd hitter, Lee, has potential hit one out of the ballpark. It's a little different for Klein, who normally is a specialist. Rarely pitches in 2 different innings, let alone the 3rd here tonight.
Well, he got 3 right-handed batters last inning. There's a strike. He got Rollins switch hitting and batting right-handed. Glanville and Rowland. Two balls and a strike. And a foul ball out of play.
Somebody with a sign about go Philadelphia, and on the backside something about J.D. Drew, and the Cardinal faithful are razzing these 2
courageous young men, to say the least.
Well, I wouldn't call them smart. That was J.D., and hopefully he could return as early as tomorrow, but maybe don't push it.
Well, the Cardinals have a pretty good lineup they're throwing out there right now. The count goes 3-2.
Yeah, maybe Wally Pipp won't get back in there.
Well, J.D. will contribute to this ball club between now and the end of September. There's no doubt about that. Steve Klein on a 3-2 to Bobby Abreu. Doesn't want to walk him, and he doesn't. But it's a foul tip as Bobby stays alive. Matt Morris tomorrow. We're on the air at 1 o'clock. David Coggin, the Phillies rookie, who's 4-1. How nice would that be to have one of your aces going when you're looking for a sweep? 3-2 pitch again. Missed with it. First base runner Klein's allowed, and that'll get Tony out of the dugout to call on Dave Veers. Here's our Budweiser play of the game. The crisp, clean, refreshing taste you'll find in no other beer. This Bud's for you.
I'll try to sneak a fastball by him on the inside part of the plate, and just enough to muscle it out of here. It was 343 feet, but a 3-run home run, and to make him a hero, along with Steve Klein, who's getting a standing ovation from the Cardinal faithful.
He's become a fan favorite here, and why not? Dave Veers has a chance to pick up a save now. Klein would still be the winner. Leadoff man aboard in the 9th.
Well, Dave Veers is appearing for the 59th time. He was the winner last night, his 3rd victory, and he has won or saved 5 of the team's last 8 games. He owns a team high 14 saves on the year, and this is another save situation for him. True bullpenner like Steve Klein says, okay, I'll pick up the dot for the victory, and I'll get another save for the bullpen and let Veersy pick up number 15. See Kyle talking to Steve, and like I said, when you're a specialist, it's rarely that you pitch in 2 innings, and the first time I can think of all year that he came in, tried to pitch in 3 innings.
Pat Burrell is next, and a guy with a lot of power here. Ball 1 outside. Diamondbacks scored a run in the bottom of the 5th. They lead the Cubs 4-0. And Chicago bats in the 6th inning now at the Bank One ballpark. Top of the 9th. Cardinals trying to get that first out. Maybe a double play for 2. There's a strike on the corner. Pat Burrell tonight 0 for 3 with a walk. 2 for 7 in the series with a 2-run homer last night.
Very exciting young player, Pat Burrell.
Working ball low and outside, ball 2.
Think about the nucleus with Rollins and Glanville and Rowland, Bobby Abreu.
Ed Wade and Larry Boa have a good thing going in Philly.
Sure do. And then, you know, they've come up with some really nice young pitching that was a major surprise to them. So they're going to be in good shape for years to come, but this is going to be a learning process down the stretch.
At the knee, strike two. They're in a division with an aging Atlanta club, a totally in disarray New York Mets team, and a Montreal team that nobody knows what's going to happen with.
All right.
And of course the Florida Marlins, who are also a good young ball club. 2-2 pitch. Ball 3 with a splitter. Can't walk him. Leadoff walk. Now a 3-2 count and a home run type hitter on deck. A left-hander at that. Cardinals are out of lefties now.
Very telling now to see what they throw here on the 3-2 pitch. Cannot afford to walk him, and yet will he chase the splitter? You have to go with a fastball. That's what they're going to elect to on the outside part of the plate.
Well hit right center. That will plug the gap. Abreu motoring toward third, and a good play by Pujols to get it in. Out at second base. Oh, if you're the Phillies, you can't do that. A huge out for the Cardinals. And Albert Pujols from the gap.
Larry Boa can't like that. I mean, it was a good piece of hitting. He went with the pitch, a 3-2 pitch down and away. And Albert Pujols has that strong throwing arm. You play a little deeper, so you cut that ball off, and look at the strong throw, and Renteria applies the tag. Right there, and close bang play, but the veteran Rick Reed calls him out. You know, you really cannot afford to make it so close and come back and say, well, I was safe.
Yep. Strike one to Lee, who cannot tie the game now. A huge play by Albert Pujols, who played most of this game at first base. And the 0-1. Veers has the hitter 0-2 now.
I talked earlier about Pujols is smart enough that you make a mistake, you learn from it. Well, not only did he learn what a right fielder can do by throwing,
got back even,
the ball
didn't
back in, but he got a big out here in the ninth.
0-2 delivery. Travis Lee fighting for contact, and he got a piece of it.
That's a little different when Dave Veers is ahead in the count and he can throw that fork ball. Then you aren't so concerned about throwing a first strike. You can start it in the strike zone and have the bottom fall out and let the hitter be the one to protect the plate in strike zone. They had a little conversation, so shook him off. I think that was all by design.
0-2. Got him. Tags him. 2 outs.
That was just a little bit of psychology from Dave Veers. Shake off the first one, but he knew all along that they were going to throw another splitter. They wanted him to think he was going to throw a fastball.
Cardinals about to go 18 games over 500 at home. Is this the final batter of the night? Todd Pratt steps in for the Phillies. Dave Veers misses away ball 1. So the Cardinals, if they can close this out, they'll stay 2.5 back of Houston. The Cubs are behind 4-0 in the middle innings at Arizona. And the Cards could be only a game and a half back of Chicago. The 1-0, it's a high strike.
And Dave Veers trying to do whatever he can to close this game out. Also, make sure Steve Klein's scoreless streak is intact at 24 games and 22 innings.
One ball, one strike. Fly ball, right side. McGuire chases. Vigna chases. Mack is there. Cardinals win. It takes 3 hours and 41 minutes, and the bullpen comes through again with a big hit from Miguel Cairo.
You know, you can see this team, it's winning these games with contributions from everyone. And you're talking about from the biggest to the littlest, everybody is part of the action, and the Cardinals have their second 10-game winning streak of the season. First time since 1941 they have done that, and now they can just wait and see if the Cubs lose another.
Cardinals have won 10 consecutive baseball games. They go for the sweep tomorrow.